Good morning, Raptor freaks. Lexiot's here. It's Thursday, and we had a double W yesterday. Both teams won, and that's awesome. That's happened twice now this month, where both the Raptors and the Raptors 905 were able to pull off wins on the same evening. And last night seemed like the easiest of it ever happening in this year because both teams were blowing the other team out for the most part. The 905 kept it a little close at times, but they managed to make the distance and get away from the Birmingham Squadron in the second half. But earlier in the game, they were blowing them out pretty good in the first half. Then Squadron came back and took the lead in the third quarter for a second, but then they came back and took the lead back and won. So yeah, it's good, awesome stuff. There's so much to talk about this morning. I'm a little overwhelmed, honestly, because there's the two games to react to. The Toronto Tempo have hired their general manager as of this morning. That's just like shocking news I just saw, like in the last 5-10 minutes. That the Toronto Tempo have hired a woman to be their first ever general manager of the franchise. And then, there's also the hour-long second part of the Sportsnet documentary series that's coming out. They calling it Raptors Delight, which I get it. Is that an homage to Furious 5? Like, I don't know, man. I'm going to tell you guys right now, y'all aren't Raptors Delight. You're not. You know what it is? Open Gym. Open Gym is Raptors Delight. And I'll look at the episode y'all put out last night about Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter. And I'll look at the episode that was put out by Open Gym this week with DeMar and Kyle. And I'm way more delighted by the episode by Open Gym than Sportsnet and their delight. If you want the two ends of the pole, the awesome, positive, real Raptors history that I love and care about, I will watch the Open Gym episode with Kyle and DeMar meeting up and talking about the Raptors. That fucking Sportsnet shit in some ways is making me mad because Rodgers obviously does not respect the Raptors franchise correctly. They're going to put out this kind of crap. I get it. We've had our ups and downs. And in some ways, man, I have so much to unpack about that Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady episode last night. You made me hate Tracy McGrady again. And I hate Vince just as much as ever now again, too. That was not a good PR episode last night, Sportsnet. You actually made Raptors fans remind themselves why we hate Vince and Tracy. It's really dumb. All the good work Masai and the Raptors have done that make Vince okay, the Raptors fans like me, you kind of threw it out the window with your dumbass episode last night. Now I hate Vince again. Now I hate Tracy again. I'd actually buried the hatchet with Tracy 15 years ago, but now hearing him so cavalier about his Raptors career and kind of like, yeah, I never was going to come back. And he's still kind of disrespectful towards the Toronto Raptors to this day, the way he talks about them. Yeah, fuck you, Tracy McGrady. I thought you were better than this. There were things I'd seen you say since. I was like, well, Tracy's all right. But no, I'm realizing you are a villain and you are kind of an asshole. And I thought better of you than this. And now, Sportsnet, good job. You're going to take a person that I was okay with in Raptors history and make me not okay with them again. Yeah, so fuck you, Tracy McGrady, is what I'm saying this morning. You are not a true Raptors alumni, obviously, because you don't want to be. And like you said, you always wanted to go back home to Florida, and you had already decided that. And Vince said also, let's be honest here, too. Yeah, you didn't do anything good with that. And like trying to show all sides of the story, it still backfired. Vince is still a fuck. Yeah, I'm mad at whatchamacallit, Rob Babcock, but I'm just as mad at Richard Petty for hiring Rob Babcock. And Richard Petty, who the fuck are you to show up on Sportsnet stuff and come around and put down people like Isaiah Thomas and Butch Carter when you're a man of no accomplishment your fucking self? You call yourself a businessman. You said that Isaiah wanted to be a businessman. He couldn't be. You said that Coach Carter wanted to be a GM, but he couldn't be. Well, you're just a fucking corporate shill that should have never been running any sports teams in Toronto. That's right. Maybe you could have got away with running the Leafs because that may be something you know something about, but you didn't know jack shit about the NBA, and you should have had no leadership control over the Toronto Raptors at any point in their entire history, Richard Petty, you piece of shit. Fuck you. You get my two-finger salute the most today. Yeah, who the fuck are you, Richard Petty? Oh, and Butch Carter didn't even spell my name correctly when he came back. Who the fuck cares who the fuck you are, Richard Petty? There's somebody who has your name that's more famous than you that drove race cars, you dumbass piece of shit. Yeah, seriously. Oh, I love the stuff they're saying about Butch Carter. Butch Carter was actually the best coach for the Raptors on the down low in the history of the Raptors. That's what Doug Smith says. I don't believe you, though. I think Dwayne Casey was the best coach right now. Darko may be second, Nick Nurse third, maybe Butch Carter's fourth, as far as I'm concerned, Doug Smith. Because you can't be a good coach if you fuck up your coaching career by suing another NBA player and then getting all crazy and then fucking having to leave. That's not a good NBA coach because he didn't keep his job safe to continue to do it. So, yeah, I can't get behind you on saying Butch Carter is the best coach in Raptors history. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard, Doug Smith. You might need to get your head checked. Yeah, and then the way they treated Lenny was not fair either. They, if you're going to bring up Lenny Wilkins, a Hall of Famer, a great guy, a very, very, very established person, you don't need to be putting him down like you did. And I'm glad you put him on the show and you got his side of the story. But that's not right. That was not right. We were successful when Lenny Wilkins was our coach. So Sportsnet, thank you for being a Debbie Downer and a piece of shit company that fucking is giving us the history of our team with your bullshit slants. Fuck you, Sportsnet, for making this series. I only will like that you got so many different interviews from so many different people coming out of the woodwork talking about the Raptors' history. I love Chuck Swirsky. I love hearing from D. Brown. I love hearing from Kevin Willis and Charles Oakley and Antonio Davis and Muggsy Bogues. But I don't fucking like hearing from Richard Petty. And I don't like fucking hearing your revisionist shit or even your slants on what you want to tell everybody what the history of the Raptors is. I worked at that arena during that time period. I was there for the first game against the Raptors, against the Vancouver Grizzlies when they opened the Air Canada Center. I worked there until 2003 and saw all of Insanity right up close, right in my face. And I saw what a fuck face you were, Richard Petty, in person when I worked there. Run around in your stupid suit, coming by to see everybody stands and saying, oh, guys, hey, it's a big night, guys. It's a big guy. You're a piece of shit, Richard Petty. You always have been. And now with these documentaries, I'm finding out even more of what a piece of shit you were in the behind the scenes. Yeah, it's annoying, man. It's annoying. That time period could be a lot more happier, and they could have shown the good sides of it like they did a bit, like Alvin Williams' clutch shot and going to play Philadelphia in the second round and the building with the good things that were happening. But no, you want to concentrate on stupid shit like the dissolvement of Vince Carter and why it happened here and Tracy McGrady stuff. You go ahead, Sportsnet. You're not a delight. Let's just put it that way. That's a horrible nickname for your damn show. You could call it Dark Side of the Raptors, and it would be better named, you motherfuckers. Seriously. You're going to make the show called Dark Side of the Raptors. Call it Dark Side of the Raptors, not fucking Raptors Delight, you pieces of shit. This is what you get for letting a baseball channel do a basketball documentary series. This is what you get when you put a fucking NHL hockey executive in charge of an NBA team in the early 2000s. He hires a dumbass jack-up shit. Why did you fire Glenn Grunwald also, you dumbass piece of shit, Richard Petty? Because Glenn Grunwald's like, I was going to keep working, and I was doing a good job. But all of a sudden, I think he just hated Indiana people. I think Richard Petty just had a fucking problem with John Batov's Indiana connections that were involved in the Raptors organization early, and that was Isaiah Thomas, Butch Carter, and Glenn Grunwald. So fuck you, Richard Petty. Fuck you, Sportsnet. I'm saying a lot of fucks early in my stream, and I haven't even done my reaction because of the stupid-ass hour-long piece of shit that they dropped on us last night. No disrespect to all the great people that contributed and gave their opinions, Eric Smith, Doug Smith, all these people. But fuck, man, Sportsnet. This is not an appropriate title called Raptors Delight. Raptors Delight is DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry revisiting their bromance 5 years later, the way they did on Open Gym. So, yeah, you guys are fuckers, man. Open Gym, thank you for being a ray of light in the dumbass shit that Sportsnet's putting out right now. That's what I say. This is coming from the Raptors freak. Seriously, I love the Raptors. I know all about that stupid-ass episode that happened last night on Sportsnet, Raptors Delight, because I lived it. I was in the arena. I was at most of those games in the footage. that they were showing in that episode, that whole hour, whether it was the Maple Leaf Gardens preseason game against Milwaukee when Terry Stotts was coaching them. And I was sitting in the Maple Leaf Gardens with like 30 other people watching the Raptors preseason game before they even opened the Air Canada Center. And I saw Vince Carter play for the first time and with my own two eyes in real life. Mayor Mel Lastman threw up the jump ball and fell on his ass next to Kevin Willis before the game started. I was at most of those games. I know exactly what Vince sanity was like. And you know what? You guys didn't do it justice. And really, really talking about it. Sure, you went over the dunk competition. Sure, you talked about the phenomena of Vince and him blowing up and stuff like that. But in some ways, you didn't do this thing justice. And it is what it is. At least you toned down your dumbass narrator, who's such a, not as much as him in the second episode. I noticed that. Y'all may be doing fast edits. Reactions from Raptors fans and what they're saying, since you have so much time to get them ready. The next one will be out at the end of February. And well, let's see if you can get this one right. So far, both these episodes, I hate them both. I hate them both. You guys are making fun of the Raptors in the first episode. In the second episode, you just showed all our warts and showed why. You showed that people disrespect the Raptors franchise and they get away with it, is what you just fucking showed in that episode last night. That's what you showed, you fuckers. Man, I'm so mad. In some ways, I wish we hadn't retired Vince's jersey all over again because Sportsnet put out something last night. Seriously. All right, let's see. Trevor J. saying, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows and not flower. Yeah, I'm not going to get behind this morning because you can use that analogy for an NBA player and where they're playing. Davion Mitchell wasn't blooming in Sacramento. Well, hopefully he's going to bloom in Toronto, which it seems like. But yeah, you could make this analogy for somebody like Tracy McGrady, though. I'm not going to make it right now, Trevor. So sorry. I don't like your words of wisdom right now. This is reminding me of Tracy McGrady and why he wanted to go to Orlando. Yeah, it's so stupid, man. You guys got to understand, around that period of time, there was so much manufactured noise by the press and just other NBA people about Tracy not fitting in Toronto together because Vince is overshadowing him, which was absolute bullshit. But then Tracy made it all convoluted and confusing, saying, no, I didn't think that Vince was overshadowing me. I just wanted to go home. Well, I get it. You just wanted to go home. He was very open about my childhood dream was to wear the Magic jersey. And Vince said it too. We both had that dream when we were growing up that we both wanted to play for Orlando Magic because that was the team that we watched when we were kids in Florida. If there's one thing I'll learn from Raptors delight in the past of the Raptors, a lot of the mistakes we don't ever need to make again. And I hope Bobby and Masai note this stuff. Like, yeah, MLSC, you decided, never hire somebody like Rob Babcock ever again. Yeah, that's a lesson. You know what? Take care of your young players so they don't get disenchanted. That's a lesson from Darryl Walker. There's all kinds of lessons from different people in the past of the Raptors that we learned, and we do not let ourselves make those mistakes now. There's a lot of them. And, well, maybe that's one of the good sides of Raptors delight is we actually get to see the mistakes of the past. And, well, we hopefully will never, ever repeat them because there were mistakes in the Raptors running in the first 10 years of their history. And some of them had to do with Richard Petty directly. I'm telling you right now, hiring Rob Babcock may have been the worst thing the Raptors ever did in their whole entire career of their franchise. That's what I'm saying right now. All right, let's see. Trevor's saying Raptors are playing good basketball, smacked around the Wizards. W again. Yeah, we got our fifth game in a row. I'd rather talk about the team. And in some ways, I got this stupid documentary out of the way and my reaction to it. I feel like I'm going to have to watch it again. It was so long and it came out late last night and I'm tired. I'm watching it after watching both games at the same time. So I feel like I'm going to have to watch it again, even though I don't want to. You know, the Open Gym episode, I want to watch it over and over again. I've already watched it 3 times. But that Sportsnet episode last night, it's painful to watch, and I don't want to watch it again, even though I probably should, because there's more to it. There's so much to it. There's stuff like the reaction of Antonio Davis and Charles Oakley and them about Vince going to his graduation. Well, they put that all on blast right there, that there was a real bad miscommunication. Basically, Vince said, I want to go do this. And he said, does everybody think I should do this? And nobody would say no. Say, no, Vince, you shouldn't go. Lenny didn't say it. Richard Petty didn't say it. Glenn Grunwald didn't say it. None of them said, Vince, you shouldn't go to your graduation, bro. You should just go here. Charles Oakley didn't say it. None of them said it to him because in some ways I don't think they actually got the chance to say it to him. He made up his decision with other people and he just went. He didn't talk to anybody. He was insensitive. He's egotistical. And he only thought about himself. He didn't think about Alvin Williams. He didn't think about Muggsy Bogues. He didn't think about Charles Oakley. He didn't think about Antonio Davis or Kevin Willis or Drew Brown or any of them, D. Brown, any of them when he made that decision to go to UNC, obviously from that documentary last night. Because all of them were saying, Lenny's like, why is he doing this? Lenny Wilkins, one of the greatest coaches, why would he do this? This is stupid. Why is he going to do this right now? This is so dumb. In some ways, Vince Carter going to get his diploma that day was disrespectful towards the Raptors franchise, the Raptors teammates, the Raptors coaches, and just in general, the city of Toronto. And I'm going to stand on that. So thank you, Rogers Sportsnet, for undoing a lot of the goodwill and the uniting of Raptors Nation with Vince Carter by putting out this piece of shit you put out last night. Because seriously, it just made me hate Vince again. Oh, he was so arrogant. He didn't even understand that Charles Oakley and all of his teammates hated him for going to fucking graduation, because that's what came out last night. That's what I saw, that none of them agreed with Vince going to his graduation, but he went on with his egotistical damn self. In some ways, they had to let him go because they didn't want to anger him because they thought he was going to leave. That's fucked up. That's a fucked up situation where you got to kiss somebody's ass so bad that you're worried about them leaving. That's another way we don't run things anymore. They may have been cold and not family-like, like Messiah and them now. And that's part of the reason why the relationship had to be tendered by giving favors and not trying to anger somebody. Man, I know I got to stop talking about this. In some ways, this is my burning desire right now to bash the hell out of the Sportsnet Raptors Delight episode 2 that came out. The Rise is what they're calling it. The Rise. Yeah, you got to rise out of me, all right. Fucking Rogers Sportsnet piece of shit. Fucking corporation. Yeah, you got to rise out of me, motherfuckers, with your bullshit. Seriously. Man, y'all should be more like Open Gym is what I'm saying. Yeah, all right, let me do the stars of the game for the Wizards game last night. 5th game in a row, the first ever 5-game winning streak for the Darko era. This is the first time we won 5 games in a row since like 2022. You know, I love it. And the thing I really love about the game last night is the Raptors took this professionally. They could have came out there and matched that horrible energy and that horrible play of the Wizards, which was horrible. Trust me, they got 30 turnovers last night. But they didn't. They played to a certain level of excellence and execution the way that they're supposed to play, and it showed because they blew them out. They kicked their ass the whole entire game. And I love that because in some ways that's a dedication to professionalism, because you're going to play a lower opponent that's really shitty. You could get lazy and lackadaisical and play just as bad as them. But no, they held a standard of excellence for themselves in the matchup to compete at a higher level than what they were playing at, because they are a bad team. They are a bad team. Very, very bad team. Very, very bad team. Yeah. All right, let's see. The stars of the game for the game last night, we had 8 players in double digits for the Raptors game last night. And that's fantastic. Because of that, I'm going to go ahead and give 7 stars of the game last night. My number 1 star is Scotty Barnes. He was the leading scorer for the Raptors last night. 29 minutes, 10 of 19 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 3 at the free throw line, continuing that excellence at the free throw line. I love it. Scotty's really, really dependable there. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, plus 24 with 24 points and 29 minutes. Scotty was the most important player on the court. He was the leader. He was the glue. He was the defensive intensity setter. And, well, he had some fun with going against Kuzma. Kuzma and Barnes is a rivalry on the down low, guys. I don't know if you've noticed this. Whenever we play Washington, this is normal, that Kyle Kuzma and Scotty will talk trash and they will go at each other. And this all stems from a game a couple summers ago at Utah at the Powder League. Powder League is a pro-am event that is held in the summer. And, well, it was Scotty versus Kyle there one summer, and they put up like 50 on each other. They were going back and forth. It was very, very competitive. They were the 2 best players in the court, and they were just killing it. And they put up huge, crazy, massive numbers. Now, Kyle won the Powder League matchup and actually beat Scotty out in Utah that year with his team. But it was a really good matchup. And ever since then, they go at each other when they have the matchup. So that Kuzma versus Barnes thing is a real thing. In some ways, it's it's not the kind of feud you think Scotty should be getting into, but it's a good one because Kyle Kuzma is a good offensive player, and he does kind of give a good versus for him. But if we're talking about Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Kuzma's like Von Kaiser or Glass Joe. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, Scotty, fantastic stuff. Great job leading the team. In fact, you did such a good job. You didn't barely have to play in the fourth quarter because the team was winning by so much and we got more minutes for the end of the bench. So good job, Scotty. You are awesome, man. I'm gonna give some shine that's undue for a long time now. We're gonna give the second star to Davion Mitchell for last night. I don't include the defensive stuff in my star rankings as much as I should. I should think about it way, way more. And well, Davion, you're getting the fifth star in this victory last night, the second star, because man, you're awesome. 27 minutes. Davion Mitchell, 4 for 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from three. He was very, very good with his 3-point shot, confident. Also, 4 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 turnovers, though, a plus 24, though. So an added benefit on the court, 10 points in 27 minutes. Davion was one of the 8 guys that had double digits, shooting perfectly, which is awesome. And also balancing extremely good defense on Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole had a horrible game last night, was absolutely a dead note for the Wizards in the game. And a lot of that had to do with Davion Mitchell, y'all. So, yeah, I'm very proud of you, Davion, and what you're doing in your career right now with the Raptors. Keep going. You're doing awesome. And you showed some efficiency on the offensive end last night to go along with your top-notch defensive ability. Fantastic stuff. My third star of the game last night is Ochai Agbaji. Agbaji returned to the starting lineup because Grady Dick was a scratch yesterday. He woke up in the morning. Grady woke up and he wasn't feeling well and he was ill. So he's sick. You noticed he wasn't even on the bench last night to sit with the Raptors and watch the game. So he's that sick. He was away and ill. So yeah, Ochai got the start and he returned to the starting lineup and he looked like starting Ochai from earlier this season. 24 minutes, 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. Those threes are awesome. Those corner threes and getting that ball to Ochai, it's just so nice to have a very steady, capable 3-point corner shooter like Ochai Agbaji. He has been just such a godsend this year. In fact, in some ways, Oshai's been our most reliable 3-point shooter, maybe other than Grady and Chris on the team at times. 1 for 2 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals also by Ochai, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 12 points in 24 minutes on plus 13. Yeah, Ochai was just a good balance. He gave us good threes. He was a defensive presence. And, in some ways, he had to do some stuff against people like Poole and Kuzma. And, yeah, I thought he was great. And it was nice to see him back in the starting lineup. Ochai Agbaji is a good player on our team. He could be a starter. But, he's probably going to more often be like Norman. Norman Powell from back in the day, his role where he kind of jump in and out of the starting lineup depending on things, but he's more often going to be a 6-man. So I see Agbaji in that kind of role in the rotation right now, like Norman Powell in the past. My fourth star of the game is Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl continues his excellence as the big man for the Raptors. 6 of 11 from the field, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, just 1 turnover, a plus 26 with 12 points in 27 minutes. It seemed like Jakob should have scored more. It's fun to see Jakob out there battling Jonas. Jonas versus Jakob. It's like kind of like it's got such a history to it because Jakob came into the Raptors as a rookie and Jonas was his big man mentor, veteran, and they were together for the first couple of years of Jakob's career. So they really do know each other really well. And, there's a lot of respect between the two of them. They're very good counterbalances weight-wise for each other. Jonas is a scary man. He's at this point, he's a certain age, and he's just all muscle. And he's just like, it's kind of cool to think about the journey of Valanciunas and where he came from as a skinny kid from Lithuania. And I love the story Matt Devlin's telling about how he came in, they told him he had to bulk up, and then 2 years in, they told him he was too bulked up. I remember all that. I remember when Jonas came in, he was undersized, and then he got really big all of a sudden, and they were trying to tell him to lose weight again. So, yeah, it's kind of fun. Jakob also getting into it a little bit with Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma elbowed Yak in the face on one play. It was pretty dirty. And at first I was like, oh man, Jakob could get mad at him and go after him. But I forgot that they're best friends. They both went to Utah at the same time. And Kyle Kuzma is a college friend of Jakob Pertl's. So there's no love lost there. They love each other. They're, like, even though he totally hit him with a cheap shot on that drive and nailed Jakob in the face, and Darko went crazy. And in some ways, rightfully so. But, there's been this trend of Raptors getting elbowed in the face, and they're still getting the foul called on them because they're hitting people on the arm before they're getting elbowed in the face. And that's kind of what happened there. But yeah, Pirtle was awesome. He was solid. Not a super huge offensive night, but when he needed to put in a basket because we need a little push shot or a rebound put back, he was there and he did that. Yeah, Kuzma's weird, man. He had such a weird game. Like I love the behind the backboard shot he took. That was so crazy. That's the stuff I loved about the NBA back in the day. With the crazy stuff like you don't see very often. That stuff needs to be happening in the NBA more. And that shot counted, which is crazy. The shot counted. But of course, Kuzma had other stuff that he did last night that was absolutely inept, stuff like that. He did catch a big dunk on us at one point, something like that. But yeah, Pirtle, awesome. He's friends with Kuzma, just so y'all know. My fifth star of the game is RJ Barrett. RJ puts on for his city. That's just the damn truth. He was the best plus minus last night. He was a plus 33, y'all. So when RJ was on the court, we outscored the Wizards 33 points. That's big time. 5 of 10 from the field is a low-key scoring night for him. It's not a great night for RJ, but I wanted to give him some excellence just for being a cog in the wheel and helping out and chipping into his part. 1 for 2 from 3. He missed both his free throws, and they were ugly. And Matt Devlin was asking Alvin, why is RJ missing his free throws? Can you see what's wrong with it? And to me, this is what I'll say. If Matt, you were asking me this, because I do analyze free throws and methodology and try and fixing it if there's a problem. I think one of the problems is that RJ has no set routine. In some ways, he's not getting a rhythm at the free throw line. And that's kind of what Alvin said. It really is like you need to do the same body motions in the same time frame as every time. Like whether it's Pascal wiping his chin, whether it's a dribble, whether it's Marquise Noel putting the ball around his back and bringing it up to shoot it again. You need a free throw routine, RJ. And the problem is, part of it is you're shooting a lot of your free throws short. Like both of the ones you missed last night were short. So you're not getting enough push. So I think part of it is you need to really think about your legs at the free throw line, RJ Barrett. You really need to think about the legs. And what you're supposed to do, just like with a jump shot, is to get your power for your shot from the bottom of your feet. You start the energy from the ground and you have your feet set and you bring the energy up through your ankles, up through your knees as you extend and bend up and shoot. And it comes up through your body, up through your arms and through your fingertips into the basket. Because you're not putting power into the shot. It's like you're not using your legs on your free throws. And the second thing that RJ does that messes up his free throws is he twists his hand a little bit on his release, and he has all kinds of weird action with it spinning sideways and not directly towards the basket. And that's part of the reason why he's missing the free throws also. So I'm going to say 3 things for you, RJ Barrett, for you to fix your free throw shooting right now. You need a better routine where you set it up and duplicate it every single freaking time you take a free throw because you're coming up there and you're all over the place. Second, you need to bring the power from the bottom of your feet up through your legs into the shot so that you're putting a proper power on it. And then the third, be very cognizant of how your offhand on your shooting is making the shot not straight. In some ways, this is kind of like how Chris Boucher used to shoot threes. Y'all remember Chris Boucher used to put a crazy-ass globe spin on his three-point shot. That shot wasn't turning over and over on top of itself. It was revolving around like the globe. Like, zoo, zoo, zoo. That was such a bad fundamental shot. And a big, huge reason why Chris is shooting way better threes this year is because he stopped shooting it that way. And he's shooting it over itself finally now with the way he shoots it. Well, RJ in some ways is doing a little bit like what Chris used to do with his three-pointers by putting too much action on the shot at the free throw line. So I'm just saying there's a little 5-minute critique of RJ Barrett's free throw shooting and what he needs to do to fix it. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover for RJ, 11 points. That's not a big scoring night, but in some ways when you got 8 guys scoring double digits and you're playing the Wizards, you only need 106 points. Well, 11 points is enough from RJ. Now, he would have given us more if we needed it. I know that. All right, my 6th star of the game is Jamal Shed. Another one of the double-digit guys off the bench, 21 minutes, 3 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. He made all 3 of his free throws, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover, 10 points for Shed in 21 minutes. It's not a huge fancy line, but I loved having so many guys get to double digits last night. And it's fantastic. And my last star of the game is Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown had very solid minutes of scoring for the Raptors off the bench last night. He was a real catalyst in the first time the bench came out and scored a whole bunch of baskets and was carrying them in the bench minutes, the first initial bench minutes. 4 of 9 from Bruce, 2 of 4 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, plus 8 with 10 points in 19 minutes. The other guy who scored double digits was Orlando Robinson, who got them at the free throw line, shooting 4 of 5, 3 of 8 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. He did take threes, and he was trying to brag before the game in the pregame interview that he's a three-point shooter and he has some stuff to show us still. Dude, don't take threes, please. I've seen the 3 or 4 3 attempts that you've made since you've become a Raptor, and I'm not into it, man. I don't want to discover more. If you had hit one of them or made it kind of actually close, I would have been like, yeah, Orlando Robinson can shoot threes. You might be able to shoot threes, but don't try and do that right now. Let's keep it simple. And let's just work, continue to do the excellent stuff on defense and rebounding and maybe some post work. But yeah, let's stay away from the threes, Orlando Robinson. Please, please. 6 rebounds for him, 3 offensive ones, 1 turnover, a -2 with 10 points. He's honorable mention for the game last night, not one of the stars. And the rest of the team that I didn't go over real quick, Boucher, 1 3-pointer that he made, 1 of 2 from the field, 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers. So Boucher wasn't all that. Garrett Temple got in for 6 minutes of garbage time at the end of the game and missed 3 shots, made 1 steal. And then Jacoby Walter, 2 for 9 from the field, missed all 4 of his 3-point attempts, 2 assists, 1 steal, 4 points for Jacoby. Yeah, it was just a good all-around effort. The Wizards are bad. We don't need to lose to them this year. We can sweep them all 4 games. That'd be badass. We got the first one last night, and we keep our winning streak going because we stay pro. We got to play Chicago tomorrow, and we got a real good chance to get 6 wins in a row for the 6. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Yeah, interesting game, though. I'm just glad that they didn't play with their food, and they didn't allow them to come back and beat them. You know, Justin Champagnie came off the bench for the Wizards, and he did some of that stuff he does. We saw a 3 from him, the top of the key, that was pretty cool. 5 of 7 from the field, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 2 blocks, a +6 with 12 points. Yeah, Champagnie was one of the few plus players on the other side that did anything of note. Kuzma, leading scorer with a double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds for Kuzma. Valanciunas, 11 rebounds, 6 points. Yeah, they got a lot of young players. They're really, really not good. They're not organized. And it's just how it is. The Wizards are the Wizards. They've always been the Wizards. It's just how it is. That's right. Congratulations to AJ Lawson being selected to the up next game. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That game is played on All-Star Sunday before the All-Star game in the afternoon. It's not to be confused with the thing that Grady Dixon, which is Rising Stars. They will have a G League team there too, but that's not the one that AJ's on. AJ's not going to be competing in the thing that the All-Stars and Grady's in. It's a totally separate game just to showcase high-level G League players. In fact, in that roster that's going to be there, Justin Champagnie that we saw last night will be playing in this game also. AJ Lawson's in. Also, Kevon Harris, former 905er, will be there. And also, who else? I had the list last night. I should look at it again. Moses Brown, he'll be playing in this. And Jeff Doughton Jr. will also be in this game that AJ Lawson's in also. So there's a lot of different former Raptors that are going to be passing into this game also, with Champagnie, Kevon Harris, and Jeff Doughton Jr. So yeah, it's an interesting game. Also got Josh Christopher playing in this game, former Rocket that's been in the G League now. He's going to be playing this up next game with AJ Lawson. Of course, AJ had a fantastic game last night and was the player of the game for the 905 game against Birmingham Squadron. AJ was the 30 points, which was fantastic. Number 1 scorer for the 905. Hang on, let me just get this box score up. He was 11 and 19 from the field, 6 of 10 from three. The threes were really good. AJ was better last night. In fact, he talked about in his post game interview that he's working on being more efficient. So he probably hears the knocks, things that, like what I'm saying on here, that other people are saying it too, that he needs to be more efficient. If he's going to have that much of volume, he's going to be more efficient. Well, he was last night. 11 and 19 is more efficient. 6 of 10 from three is awesome. 2 of 5 from free throw land, not as good. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 turnover, a plus 10 with 30 points in 30 minutes. Yeah, AJ, good job. And those Chinese lantern jerseys, they look weird and purple on screen, but I like them. And I thought it was really cool that the Raptors 905 honored Lunar New Year for Chinese heritage with those jerseys on a beautiful New Year's yesterday with new moon also on the same day. So it's very powerful stuff there with the new moon and a new year with the Chinese lantern jerseys and the 905 last night. Very, very cool. The second star of the game for the 905 victory is Jamison Battle. Actually, Jamison Battle kind of broke open a little bit last night into a new realm of production that we haven't seen a whole lot. You know, he's been producing pretty much the same at both the Raptors and the Raptors 905 levels. It's you're not really seeing him get a lot of like busting past 20 points. There was maybe one game for the Raptors earlier in the season where he went off, but for the most part, Jameson's chipping in and getting like, 8 points, 10 points here for both teams. Well, they keyed on him last night. They actually went and sought him out and got him the ball. Y'all are listening to me, Kenny Chandler. Now say stop calling your own damn number 0 and start calling 77 Jamison Battle, because that's kind of what happened last night. Jamison 8 of 11 from the field last night, 5 of 6 from 3. He was on. He was hitting those threes, and he was a huge reason why we won last night. 2 rebounds, 3 assists, a +1 with 21 points for Jamison Battle. I love seeing Jamison get a 20-point game on 905 level. In fact, that should be happening more often than not, seriously, because he's that kind of guy and scorer. Jamison, after the game in his post-game news conference, going over, yeah, I'm good on offense. I know what I can do on offense. I can score as I want to. I really am focusing on defensive stuff in my growth right now in my rookie year in the NBA, that it is really, really about getting better defensively. And it's my main focus on everything I'm trying to do right now. The shooting stuff is all stuff I've already got. And in some ways, I don't need to work on that as much. So he's overly focusing on defense right now. He has to, because that's the area he needs to get better at to survive in the NBA. The third star is Frank Kaminsky. Frank the Tank has 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. He missed his only free throw, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and 3 turnovers, 11 points on a +21 in 25 minutes. Yeah, it's not a super outstanding game, but it's solid. And I love the plus minus of +21. It's only second to Evan Gilliard on the team with a +24. Yeah, Frank's just solid. In some ways, he's not pretty. It's ugly. Yeah, he's going to embarrass himself at least once every game with some goofy stuff he's going to do. But Frank Kaminsky's been a great leader for the Raptors 905 as a veteran and an older player to be around that team. And in some ways, he's so goofy. He's the right kind of leader in some ways. Let's just put it that way. He's so goofy. All right, let's keep going. The fourth star of the game for me was Kennedy Chandler. Chandler's reining it in. He's playing more like a point guard these days than just a point guard, shooting guard masquerading as a point guard. He's been deferring to other people more. So I guess maybe he's hearing the noise or something. 5 of 9 for Kennedy Chandler from the field, 1 of 2 at 3, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 0 turnovers. I love that 7-0 turnover ratio. Kennedy Chandler, 11 points for him, a -12. In some ways you frustrate me, but man, if you could become more like a true point guard, you might have a place somewhere, somehow. But I don't know, man. In some ways I feel like you're too far in your career to make changes to many of your proclivities that you do already. And you may be just a lost cause at this point. But I do recognize you're being more of a playmaker, effective point guard in recent games, and I appreciate that. In some ways, I wish you'd came out the gate like that in the very beginning of the G League season in the Showcase Cup last fall. If you'd shown that kind of play like you're playing right now back then, I may have been your friend this whole time, is what I'm saying. The fifth star of the game is Jared Rhoden. Jared Rhoden has been silently and effectively, very quietly consistent for the Raptors. 905 recently, 21 minutes, 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 6 from three. Made his only free throw, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, a +1 with 15 points in 21 minutes. Yeah, Jared Rhoden has been a very, very helpful player to the 905 this year. He may be an unsung hero. He kind of just slipped back onto the team after the Hornets cut him from his two-way. And, unceremoniously just came back and no rah, but he's really has been plugging in and doing good stuff for us, whether he's coming off the bench or starting. So applause to you, Jared Rhoden. Some honorable mentions. We'll give an honorable mention to Shamshay, 3 for 7 from the field, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, a +1 with 6 points. He had a couple of plays off of other Raptors where they gave him layup dunks, which was fantastic. They were looking for him, and he'd get a lob, and he'd just dunk it down. Was the way he was scoring last night. But I love seeing the rebounds, and the 3 blocks are awesome too. But yeah, Shamshay's on his way. And in some ways, once again, when he's in the game, he's a totally different look than Kaminsky, obviously. Because Kaminsky's not a very good defender. He can score a lot. And Shamshay's kind of the opposite. He's a very good defender, but he's not going to score as much for you. So there's two very different looks at center for Coach Andrew Jones right now, between the very, very young 19-year-old and the veteran that's in his 30s, Frank Kaminsky. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. In the on the starting lineup, also Jonathan Mobo, 3 for 6, 1 for 1 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 9 assists for Jonathan. He was a real playmaker last night. 1 steal, 1 block, a -5 with 8 points in 33 minutes. It's, in some ways, that was a good game for Jonathan playmaking wise, but otherwise, in some ways, not as good. Evan Gilliard in the starting lineup, 2 for 4, 2 of 2 at the free 3-point line, 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, a +24 with 6 points in 25 minutes. Eugene Omoruyi, 23 minutes off the bench, 5 of 12 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, a +9 with 14 points in 23 minutes. Yeah, just not very efficient for Eugene, or he might have gotten a star. Yeah, hey, they did a good job. They held off the Squadron. The Squadron did take the lead in the third quarter for a second there, and that seemed a little scary. Alfred Payton came in off the bench, didn't hardly do nothing for them. And that's really kind of their other players. Antonio Reeves, 24 points, 22 points for Carlo Matkovic. He was kind of a problem in this game, their big center. And then Keon Brooks, their two-way, had 20 points also for the Squadron, who are 3-10 now. The Raptors 905, 9-4 at the top, 5-2 at home. Great stuff. I love seeing both our teams win like this. It's just awesome having winning around our team again. And it's crazy because they're talking about it during the game last night. The Raptors are the #1 defensive team in recent games in the NBA. We have the best defensive rating recently. If you go look at that matrix of the graph where they put all the teams every 10 days, the Roddenberry or whatever they call it, we're at the top of defense right now. At the top of that little matrix where they show they have the XY axis and they put all the 30 teams logos on it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're #1 on that for defense at this point. And we're the hottest team in the NBA technically right now with the best winning record since a certain date. I'll take all of this. I don't care. Bruce said in the interview after the game last night, we can't go back and change the losses we've already gotten this year. We can only go forward and try and do our best right now. That's awesome. And continue to do your best right now, much to the dismay of Stank Nation. That's what I'm going to say right now. That's right. Trevor J saying Joel Embiid has made $125 million over that by sitting for 400 games. Yeah, I posted this stat in the chat yesterday because it was interesting. In Joel Embiid's career, he has sat out 400 games in his long career with the Sixers. That's a lot of games. That is a lot of games. 400 games? That's like 4 whole seasons of basketball at least, if not 5 almost. That's almost 5 seasons out of 10 years of playing. Isn't that crazy? I mean, where is your return on that? This is what the process was? This is what tanking in Philadelphia in the mid-2010s got you? Is this fraudulent MVP that's never gotten anywhere in the playoffs, that's missed more than half of your games? Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, look, you can't just look at players for talent anymore. You need to look at the whole thing, the psychology, whether they have drive, whether they give a shit in the right ways. You really do. You can't be messing around because you're going to waste money on people like Kyle Kuzma and Joel Embiid. Yeah, Kyle Kuzma is not a serious person. It's just what I'm going to say at this point. He's not a serious person. In some ways, he's a super talented player, but he in some ways has no focus. And in some ways, he's also a dumbass, honestly. I've seen what he tweets on Twitter, and he's really a low IQ individual. He's not a smart person. And that's limited him also. He's not serious about his career, and he's not very smart. In some ways, being intelligent as a person in real life, well, you could be like Fred VanVleet if you're a very smart person. But if you're not a very smart person, you're like Kyle Kuzma, is what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say right there. Trevor's saying that Wizards fans were asking back for their money after the Raptors smacked them around. That was a joke they made on the announce crew when that lady got her wine spilled on her. First of all, who's going to a Wizards game and sitting up front in a leather outfit with wine and not paying attention to the game at all, just sitting there with their girlfriend and talking the whole time? And even after the incident, that's all they did. It wasn't even like they were looking at the game. That lady who got her wine spilled, she wasn't watching the game. She came there to have gossip hour with her friend. Of course, that wine got all over the court, and Alvin's like, "Oh, not blood, right? No, it's vino. It's vino, Alvin. Don't worry, it's vino." And then they were joking about, "Oh, she's going to want another wine, get money back for that." No, if you're going to be drinking wine at courtside at the NBA game, you better be fucking ready to get a huge man hurled at you at some point. I'm sorry. If you're going to go to the NBA and you're going to sit in the front rows around an NBA court, you have the risk of getting run over by men built like Shaq. That's just the damn truth. So I'm sorry. If you're going to be sitting there with your vino and not paying attention, well, you're going to get it spilled on you. That's just how it is. So they took that incident and went further with it, saying, "Oh, they're going to want their tickets back." But Trevor, they want their tickets back. They wouldn't be there right now at this time of the season. They should have asked for their money back in November or after the first 16 game losing streak. They didn't just all of a sudden decide last night they want their money back. No, these are diehard loyal Washington fans that were at the game last night, and a lot of Raptors fans too. And they go and they take the pain. They're kind of masochists. Like, I don't understand these people coming to Wizards games still and being like that. I mean, the arena wasn't that full, but man, you must really love the team if you're in it like that. Like Wizards freak, wow. I don't think I could be you. I'm sorry. I could not be Wizards freak. I could not do what I'm doing for the Raptors every single day for the Wizards franchise. I just could not. So, yeah, let's not get it twisted. They didn't start asking for their money back last night. They may have been asking for it all season already. Smooth said, "I really hope that Ingram trade doesn't happen." I'm with you on that. I'm really with you on that. Josh Lewinberg kind of throwing in his opinion on this, saying, yeah, giving the kudos and saying, I respect Mark Stein. He's very much at the top of his field as far as a reporter, but let's just not get it twisted. Josh Lewinberg basically saying this is not probably going to happen. So that's his expert opinion. Josh Lewinberg tweeted, he said, yeah, Mark Stein's great. He is very much good at his job, but Raptors fans, I don't think this is going to probably happen. Is basically what Lewinberg said on Blue Skies yesterday. Lewinberg saying he doesn't think it's going to happen. You think it's like the Rudy Gay trade in reverse, like I was saying. Yeah, it's not the Rudy Gay trade 2.0 because that's a good trade. No, that's the reverse move of a Rudy Gay trade. That's like an Uno card that says reverse is what it says. Yeah. Smooth saying, now that Miami has lowered their trade demands, Golden State is back in the mix for Jimmy Butler. Yet another three-way trade speculation involving the Raptors. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to overlook at all this and get too delved into it until something happens, and I'll react to it afterwards because there's just too much. It can get very overwhelming. And once again, I don't want to waste any breath on trade rumors. I want to see what happens, and then I'll react to it afterwards. If there's going to be something where we're a third team involved to help facilitate a trade for somebody like Bradley Beal or Jimmy Butler, so be it. But in some cases, I'm not going to go delve on this or do a whole stream about it. It's not something that's interesting to me. But yeah, in some ways, if they got to lower the price or get more desperate, if Golden State's back involved in it, they may likely happen sooner then. It could happen. So we're saying that Golden State would get Butler Temple, they get Garrett Temple in this one. Why is Temple involved? He don't need to be involved. Miami gets Bruce Brown, Dennis Schroeder, and Lindsey Walters. And Toronto gets Andrew Wiggins and Gary Payton II. Draft camp conversation as well. You know, if we're only giving up Garrett and Bruce Brown and we're getting Andrew Wiggins and Gary Payton II, I do this. I don't necessarily want Andrew Wiggins on the team. I think that it'd be nice to have him finally play on our team. I'd like to see the effect of how he would be on the Raptors. In some ways, I'll make the argument that he's just like Brandon Ingram or DeMar. If you brought him here, he's going to be stepping on RJ's toes, and that's true. But also at the same time, they have some history of working well with each other in the Canada program. And in some ways that they may be used to kind of working around each other, Wiggins and Barrett. But I would, once again, I'm trying to protect RJ and his slice of the pie. And these trades, they can be dangerous because RJ's a guy who's a certain kind of scorer for us that needs the ball a lot. And I don't want anybody in there coming and taking touches from him. If Andrew can be a bench guy and he can be a good citizen and an upgrade on Bruce Brown, I'll love this. Now, Gary Payton II, if he can be healthy, he's a fantastic player to add to our team. Already been a Raptor in the past, a Raptors 905. And he's a defensive guard. So he'd fit really good in with Mitchell and Shed. And he'd just be another one of these guys that's absolutely annoying for the other team to try and go against. So, yeah, I don't mind this trade at all. If this happened, I would do it. I would do this trade that you're talking about, Reggie. If this happened, I would do it. Even though we lose the great veteran Garrett Temple, who's been absolutely fantastic for our team. Absolutely fantastic. And in some ways, I don't even know why he's got to be involved in this. Seriously. Is it just to balance everything out exactly right? I don't know. I mean, it sounds good. It gets the job done for Bruce Brown. Miami gets their shit done with Jimmy Butler. And, well, we actually get some players that may be useful to us. So I like this trade. If this trade happened, I would not be upset about it. I would be kind of excited about it. And I may be more excited about GP2 than Wiggins, just so you all know. But it's dependent on how healthy Gary Payton II is. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Yes, Trevor, I like it. Fix the environment and make it conducive to grow, kind of like the Raps journey these past 3 years. Yeah, I maybe went at the approach. I was really mad about that Sportsnet thing, and I kind of maybe took a little bit out of it on the words of wisdom. Because in some ways, I guess that's just was fresh in my mind. The idea of Tracy McGrady not growing well or developing right in Toronto his first few years, and then going and blowing up in Orlando made me think of that first. But yeah, I don't know. Gardening's something I'm gonna be getting into really deeply this year. In some ways, I don't necessarily agree with this either. Is that in some ways, the environment will be conducive to certain things growing. And in some ways, you can't change the environment. Like, I can't change the yard too much. Sure, I can do things like amend the soil and do different things to make it easier to succeed with certain things, or maybe take competing plants out to help give a plant a chance. But if that plant is not cut out to grow in that spot, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to change the environment. Well, how do I do that to an extent? When you're Toronto, you're Toronto. We can't change the environment here. We got to be who we are, the only Canadian team in an American basketball association. And in some ways, that's why I don't get this. It's like, you're going to change the environment. Well, how are we changing the environment of the Toronto Raptors? How are we changing the environment in my yard to get certain plant to grow if it won't grow where I think it might? Can I switch it into some place and maybe it'll grow better? Maybe. Or maybe there's no place in my yard for it to grow. That's the scary thing right there. I don't know. I hope this stuff will grow out here. I got a lot of big forest trees in my yard. They're going to be sucking up all the water. So we're going to have to see how it does. Randolph's here. Blessings, beloved Raptors freaks, most informative gang. Live life each day to the fullest. Make the best of every moment, especially with the people you love. You have one life to live. I love that. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Randolph Phillips, and blessings to the Phillips family, all the Raptor freak families. That's right. Carpe diem, seize the day. Get out there and live life to its fullest, because nothing's guaranteed at any moment other than the present moment right now. And that's it. Kareem saying, what if we swap IQ for De'Aaron Fox? If Fox really wants out, we can offer something slightly higher than what Sacramento is willing to give, which is something similar to what we gave quickly. I wouldn't even have approached this question with any kind of thought into it. I would just said no a few months ago, but I'm starting to worry about Emmanuel. And in some ways, it's I don't want him to be an Otto. I don't want him to be an Olajuwon. I don't want him to be somebody who came here, got a big paycheck, and then in some ways he's just not staying healthy and getting on the court and actually playing for us. In some ways, I can joke and make fun of Joel Embiid in this thing that Trevor just posted. But I'm looking at Emmanuel Quickley and his percentage of games that he's actually played in while he's been a Raptor, and it's really bad. In some ways, I really like the idea of us having a point guard like Maxey on our team, which is Quickly. And in some ways, I think the way that we did the OG trade and getting both RJ and Emmanuel was fantastic. But in some ways, also, we're seeing success without Emmanuel on the court right now. And obviously, the natural thing is to think, what maybe we should move Emmanuel and get something that's going to be here and doing what it's doing. I don't know. I don't like this. In some ways, I'd like to see more of Emmanuel and really test it out here, because I don't want to have some sort of weird thing where I'm like, what could have been if Emmanuel had been healthy and playing more regularly in the Raptors. I don't want that. I want to discover this. So I'm not wanting to trade him right now, but I will say my opening up to the idea of trading Emmanuel has been growing right now, just because of recent situations and our success and him not being available for most of this year. So, man, it's tough. I don't like that trade-off. I don't think De'Aaron Fox is better than Emmanuel Quickly. So I wouldn't do this. I don't want De'Aaron Fox. I really don't. I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is. And in some ways, I don't want him showing up here partly for Davion Mitchell. Let's just put it that way. I don't want him showing up here partly for Davion Mitchell. And I don't think he's an upgrade over IQ. I'd rather wait for IQ and see what he's going to do. Because in some ways, I like the offensive player that Emmanuel Quickly is way better than De'Aaron Fox. Way, way better than De'Aaron Fox. For some reason, I just don't like Fox. I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is, and they promoted him. And I don't want that overinflated person. Because in some ways, why is Sacramento shopping him? If he was supposed to be their franchise player, they traded Tyrese Halliburton to get Sabonis, and they kept De'Aaron Fox. But now they don't want to keep De'Aaron Fox. There's red flags there. There's red flags there, is what I'm saying. Smooth saying, yeah, that was a reminder of very bad times. Tracy admitting he was going to Orlando regardless was shocking. Although we knew it, to hear him say it was a jolt, a bad one. Yeah, it's just like, okay, Sportsnet, thanks for showing that the Florida boys were assholes back then. Well, let's hope Scotty doesn't have any of these dreams. I mean, I felt Scotty out on his allegiance to Miami or Orlando, and he has no allegiance to the Miami Heat. He said it straight up on his Twitch stream one day. And he said, Scotty, is your favorite team growing up the Miami Heat? He said, no, the Miami Heat were not my favorite team growing up. I liked all the teams. I was an NBA fan. He was more of like a player fan. He was a Kobe Bryant fan. He was probably his biggest fandom in the league was for Kobe Bryant. Well, then you got to turn around and worry, well, does he have a dream to play for the Lakers just like Kobe? Maybe. But I don't think that it's likely he'll go there because, once again, the Raptors can pay Scotty more than anybody else can, and we will. Trust me, we will. And he will become like a longtime franchise player for us. And he's very happy here. In fact, he's reveling in the success and the joy of being the franchise face and feeling those W's coming washing over him. So in some ways, the mistakes of mishandling Vince Carter with the bad management, the poor job that Richard Petty did in general, all around as the head of MLSE at that time, those were mistakes that were made. Hiring a horrible GM, hiring bad coaches, just not keeping good communication with the basketball players. In fact, I will say this: Richard Petty, in some ways, was Hockey Canada holding back the Raptors when they were peaking. That's what I get from this. I know the damn truth about this because I worked in the building. And I know how MLSC treated the Raptors compared to the Leafs around the turn of the century when Vince Sandy was going on. Vince, they couldn't control. Vince was out of control Beatlemania, and everybody went crazy, not just in Toronto, not just in Canada, across the world for Vince Carter. And in some ways, his overwhelming popularity scared the hell out of the Leafs and the NHL, and they had part ownership of the Raptors. So what they do? They poisoned us from within by horrible management, by putting a man who didn't know what the fuck he was doing, but was so cocky and was running the good people out that knew what they were doing, like Isaiah Thomas and Butch Carter, Richard Petty. So I'm saying this right now. Richard Petty's showing up on this documentary, but he was an agent of chaos within our organization that fucked the Raptors up to the point where we did the Vince Carter trade and we got in the bad hole. This was sabotage by our own company that owned the Raptors from within by putting him in charge and him running it to the ground because he didn't know what he's fucking doing. But in some ways, that was on purpose because the NBA and Vince Carter and the Raptors were becoming a threat to the establishment of Hockey Canada. There, I said it. You want to believe me? Read through the lines. See exactly what I'm saying. That you can't be that inept to allow a Vince Carter trade like that and just look at it and then pass the buck to Rob Babcock. You can't be that inept to fire Glenn Grunwald when he's done an exemplary job for most of the time and he had no reason to be fired. You can't be that inept to think that you know more about the NBA and basketball than Isaiah Thomas, you dumbass piece of shit, Richard Petty. I mean, does that make sense to y'all? That the Leafs, knew they were a cash cow, number one team in Toronto, most important sports franchise in Toronto. And some people say it's still that way, but I don't agree. They saw the rise coming, the name of the episode, and they killed it from within with their poor management. And the corporation, in some ways, behind closed doors, made very disgusting decisions on the down low that we'll never be privy to, and sabotaging and running our team to the ground. We can blame Brad Babcock. Yeah, it was his fault. But who hired him? Who put him in that spot to make those horrible mistakes? Who was making the decisions on hiring personnel? Richard Petty, a piece of shit that didn't know how to run a sports team. A hockey person first that ran our team in the ground on purpose because the Raptors were a threat to the Leafs and their popularity in the city of Toronto because Vince Carter was a badass. Yeah. Y'all want to know the truth? The Raptors freak will tell you the damn truth. He was in the building. He saw it with his own damn eyes. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Fiercely saying, want to be happy for the win, but it's the Wizards. No shade, pure observation, but they have so much to work on. Don't know where to start, but how many years will it take for them to make things right? You should be happy for the win. Don't poo-poo the game because it was the Wizards. In fact, that's a dangerous game. All 82 games of the season are important, even if they're a lower opponent or a higher opponent. Sure, right now we're playing a little bit lesser opponents and we're having some success. And next week, we're going to get New York. Next week, we're going to get Memphis. Next week, we're going to get the Clippers. And we'll get better tests. But let's not get it twisted. This is a test also, MJ, because you're playing a team that's shitty and you could easily play to their level and fuck around and lose. So we took care of the assignment last night. And that is not playing down to a horrible team and playing at their level and taking care of killing them and kicking their ass and putting them out. That's what it is right there. That's right. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. The Dubs are rolling in. Keep on grinding. I love it. I love this W train. 5 wins in a row. It feels so good. It feels right. It feels like when I do this channel, we're in the right mode again and not in that shit that we've been doing for most of the last year or so. Nah, this is good. I appreciate you, Cool Cat, being here this morning. Randolph saying, Lex, my hearts go out to the families and people impacted by the air collision in Washington. Seems like everyone perished. May the souls rest in peace, eternal. Yes, I completely agree with you on this. This is a horrible tragedy. And it's going to be the first of many that are coming right now because of this idiot who just became president. You know what he did? And this is directly linked to this. He's cutting funding like crazy. They're basically doing to the United States government what Elon did to Twitter. He's cutting everybody out and all the safeguards. There was nobody watching out for fact checking when Elon bought Twitter, and that's why I had to leave. Well, they're cutting all the safeguards for the American society, and one of those cuts is air traffic controllers, idiots. So already, Trump's idiotic cuts and firings of federal employees caused a tragedy where a whole bunch of people died in a crash last night over Washington, D.C. And thank God that wasn't the plane the Raptors were flying in back to Toronto on. I hate to hear a tragedy like this, but you know what? This could have been avoided if they had not elected an idiot who came in the first week. He's causing all kinds of destruction and disaster. He's taken all the safeguards out, all the overseers, all the people that make sure that things are safe and looking out for the public. Well, we're going to get more stupid ass Trump world shit like this, where unfortunate, horrible tragedies happen. because this guy is not being responsible with how he's running this government, and he's trying to cut the fat so that they can line their pockets with the money even more. That's the biggest secret of conservative government officials right now, whether it's Doug Ford or Donald Trump. They cut all the funding to the schooling, the hospitals, and all the things that we need for public services. And then they brag about saving money off the budget. Meanwhile, some of that money they're cutting, they're putting in their own damn pockets behind our backs. So yeah, that thing that happened last night in Washington is not an accident. That is on the hands of the president, who cut air traffic controlling, and they already had a tragedy in the nation's capital last night. How many days has this motherfucker been president again? And we've already seen bullshit like deportations and mass scale. And now this bullshit happening. Yeah, it's going to be ugly, ugly lessons for the world, not just the United States, because of their stupid chaos and their dumbass shit. And they're going to let Elon Musk cut the government down like he did Twitter. This is what we're going to get. So be real careful if you're flying anywhere right now. In fact, I tell people not to fly right now because it is not safe to fly in the United States right now because of Trump's irresponsible government deregulation and cutting back on federal jobs. So yeah, that is not an accident. That is a murder by the fucking dumbass orange man that is trying to be a wannabe dictator and an oligarch for the fucking billionaires in the United States right now. That's what that is right there. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened 2 weeks ago, but it happened because Trump is a fucking idiot, is what I'm going to say right now. Cool Cat's saying, wow, so Sportsnet was messy, huh? Hockey protection at all costs. Glad I didn't watch it. Well, everybody should watch it still because it is informative. And you do get those nice moments where you see Muggsy, you see Charles, you see Chuck Swirsky. You get the relive and see some of the beautiful, amazing people around that era. It's just too bad that the two youngsters that we were really trying to build this franchise around were such idiots and knuckleheads. And honestly, Sportsnet, you undid a lot of the good work that Masai and Bobby worked so hard to make me okay with Vince again last night with your dumbass little documentary. And yeah, Cool Cat, I'm going to say it right now. Yeah, hockey protection at all costs. I'm sure that's part of it. In some ways, they want to make the Raptors franchise look like a joke because that's the perpetual thing that they've been trying to tell us all along in the Canadian media up here and in the United States media. Well, our franchise is not a joke. And Sportsnet, you can make this Raptors bullshit that you're making right now. And I'm not going to go align with your bullshit of making our team look like a joke. Seriously, guys should be more respectful of the culture of the 30 years of the Raptors and the success we've had, which the Leafs have not had. So fuck you guys. Yeah, and same with the Blue Jays too, Rogers. You fuck faces. Smooth saying, to hear Tracy admit if he stayed, the Raptors would have been playing for a championship, but decided to leave anyway. It hurt all over again. Yeah, he's an idiot. You know, in some ways he says that. He said he regrets leaving, but now he's saying, oh, no, I was going to do it no matter what. And in some ways he's not Raptors Nation. You can tell. Like, why did you even show up for this episode, Tracy? Why don't you just go and be like Chris Bosh? Seriously. You don't half-ass this shit. If you want to be a Raptors alumni and be cool with us up here, if you want Granny Swag to wear your number one with pride, you need to fucking fix this shit. A commercial with Grady works. That's great. But man, in some ways, I mean, maybe you're being too honest. But man, you should have more respect for the Raptors franchise at this point than what you were showing in that interview last night, Tracy McGrady. So fuck you, Tracy McGrady. And you weren't on my list of bad alumni until last night. And that's too bad. That's too bad. You didn't have to be on that list with Rudy Gay and Goran Dragic, Tracy McGrady. You didn't have to be on there. Maybe you shouldn't have showed up for this and just shut up. And maybe it would have been fine. I wouldn't have felt like this. But you showed up. You were cocky about it. And now you're back on my shit list, Tracy. You're back on my shit list. It's too bad, man. It's too bad. Nako's here. Good to see Nako the Nacho. The framework with Golden State that I keep hearing is we get Wiggins for Brown, and Jimmy is off to Golden State, and Brown goes to Miami. De'Aaron Fox is pretty enticing for me. I don't know how easy it'd be to keep him. I don't want De'Aaron Fox. I'm just not that interested in him. I think there's way better guards out there. I think his price tag and what he is he's overblown. He's overhyped, is what I'm saying. Fiercely saying the first 45 seconds of that Sportsnet shit, they set the tone on negativity. So I switched to watch the Sixers versus Kings. I hate the Sixers. So that tells you all you need to know. Listen, I still think everybody should watch it. It's important to watch, even if it's cringe, like Monique said after she watched it. even if it's cringe. I didn't find the Rob Babcock stuff as cringe. Rob Babcock, he is what he is. I find Richard Petty cringe as fuck. And I also found the stuff with Vince extremely cringe last night too. Like, seriously, his ego is so huge, and he really can't get outside of himself to see how he looks to other people. It's a huge flaw with Vince Carter. He's had it forever. Forever. It's just that, you know what? That's what happens when you're self insulated with yes men around you, yes people, yes mom, and they don't ever tell you your flaws, and they don't ever give you a real stance on some things that you can't see. They're just kissing your ass 100%. That's Vince Carter in his life. People kissed his ass his whole fucking life and never gave him a real look at the outside looking in at what he's looking like. And that's the biggest problem with him right there. Yeah. Reggie's saying Raptors delight, eh? That's what they call this series. They just named it this time. They didn't name it that after the first episode. They just came out with it. Who's the witty genius who thought that this was a hip hop, doobity doo? Now, this is not a test. Why the fuck do you guys go there? You think that that's a funny wordplay? This is not a delight. A delight is what Open Gym gave us this week. This is not a delight, you fuck faces. I'm telling you, right? G saying Wiggins is 29, Pascal's 30. I think the trade is another rumor because why trade Pascal, whom scoring a high efficiency this year would it be about the contract more than the age and timeline? It'd be about the contract. Yeah, Siakam got paid majorly by Indiana, and the Raptors were not comfortable putting huge contracts on Fred, OG, or Pascal. And that's why we let them walk off in the sunset. In some ways, they realized tying those guys in long term, in some ways where it wasn't working, they wanted to start the new chapter and have the ledger open. So I know a lot of people wanted to keep Siakam. They really, really wanted to keep Siakam. And there's a lot of regret about this. And they're saying, whoa, why didn't we just keep Siakam? It just wasn't going to happen, y'all. The money wasn't right. And it's just how it is. So Smooth saying, I was at Vince Carter's first ever Raptors game at the Skydome in exhibition against the Celtics. Yeah, I was at that game too. But it was like a nosebleed. And I was there with my grandmother. And wasn't that the game where they pushed people through the door on the outside the Skydome? It was a free game. So many people came down there that they were pushing to get in, and somebody got pushed through the glass door at the Skydome because there was such a crowd trying to get in for free tickets for that game. I believe that's that game. I believe it was. I was there too. I believe. Yeah, I was at all those preseason games before when Vince first started. I was at all of them. Including that Maple Leaf Gardens one that I was talking about earlier. Bryce is saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. We put that belt to the ass yesterday. Okay, corporal punishment. It was nasty watching the Wizards play. I no longer think Brandon Ingram would be good for the team. I want defense. I want intensity. I want Bruce gone. And he doesn't even know if he wants Bruce gone. Yeah, Bruce is looking like he fits right now. It's weird. The Bruce Brown stuff is so back and forth, whether I want him gone or not. And after last night, I was like, okay, if he does stick around for the rest of the year, I'm not going to be upset. Either way, that's in some ways, that's the thing. If there's pressure to move Bruce Brown just for the sake of moving Bruce Brown, in some ways, I don't care anymore. In some ways, if we continue forward, we don't do any trades and it angers people, I'll be happy about that. Seriously, I'll be happy about that in some ways. I will. Fiercely saying, on a more positive note, once again, our defense was fire. At some point, I realized the greatness of Raptors' eye for talent with drafting players on the court. Scotty, Jakob, Jacoby, Jonas, etc. No, we've always had a strength of drafting well right from the start. It started with Damon Stoudemire, and it goes to this day to Jacoby Walter. It's just always been that way. There's so many great Raptors picks over the years. Sure, there's a Rafa Rujo there. Sure, there's a Michael Bradley here and there. Some of this. But for the most part, the Raptors have picked winners and guys that actually had good NBA careers and did so many things. Terrence Ross, DeMar DeRozan, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby. The list is just so successful. It's so successful. Jonas Valanciunas is one of those. And that was Brian Colangelo that picked him. So, yeah, I'm excited about the next Open Gym episode way more than this Raptors delay. In some ways, I know that the episodes will get better on Raptors delay, especially when y'all treat the championship era. But man, y'all are really like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to see how you deal with this really bad era after Vince. And if y'all are really slow sewering us and making us feel like shit, I'm gonna be like, Sportsnet, fuck you, man. You guys hired Alvin Williams. I appreciate that. You hired Savannah Hamilton. I appreciate that. But a lot of the other stuff you do, I hate so much. And TSN is way better than y'all in all kinds of different ways. Let's just put it that way as far as their broadcast. And it's not Alvin and Savannah. No, it's not the switches on that. It's the presentation and the way you cover Raptors is very night and day between TSN and this. Yeah. Man, but yeah, what an interesting episode last night of Raptors delight. That bullshit, man. Let's see. Seymour saying, what did the 5 wins say to our rivals' face? Smack. Let's get more wins. Is that a riddle? It's like a riddle. It's like in a knock knock joke for a kid, a joke book for a kid. You guys ever have those joke books when you were a kid? I was looking at one when I was in Atlanta around Christmas that my nephew had, and in the jokes I was reading them to him and his friends. They were so bad. And they were like groaning. They're like, "Oh, that's so bad, Uncle Lex. What a horrible joke." I was like, "I'm just reading your joke book, nephew. I'm sorry." Yeah. Stargate saying, laugh out loud. Why do our fans always feel the grass is greener on the other side? We always feel someone else's player is better than the players we have. Brandon Ingram, De'Aaron Fox. My goodness. Yeah, I don't understand that either. Once again, I'll say a lot of the behaviors of fans' mentalities about the team are a reflection of their own self and their own things in their own life. It could very well be these are people that are not satisfied with their own lives and they're always striving for something new or more. And then that action is just getting duplicated in this. I think that's what it is. These are people that are not content in their own lives. So they are trying to fix things with happy, shiny things. In some ways, this is the dopamine release of the generation that we're in right now with the devices, and you get dopamine releases from newness, or I play a game and I get little treasures every time I complete a level. And when I open the treasure, I get a little high from it. Some people may get high off of transactions in the NBA. I know that's disgusting. Everybody has their weird quirks. But yeah, some people get high off of that. And that's part of the reason why these people do this. It's because they just like the idea of newness. These are the people that can't get enough Christmas presents because they're opening, oh, it's a surprise. I got something new. Oh, dopamine. Yeah, that's it. They like the dopamine release of new ideas with trades and players coming in, and it's all new and shook up. I agree with you, man. The whole idea that the grass is greener on the other side stuff is stupid, and often is what manages a team into being like the Wizards. Honestly, you want to be like the Wizards? Well, manage from that mindset of the grass is always greener everywhere else, like Stargate saying. G saying Raptors in the last 7 games apparently have the best defensive rating in the league. That's right. That's right. And it's really, it's not necessarily anything other than we're connected. We trust each other. We're communicating well, and we're just playing as a unit. In some ways, out of all the 30 teams in the league, only a certain percentage of them are going to be playing in sync, in unison with each other at any given time. They're going to come and go. At times, the team may play like that at the beginning of the season, but lose it for a while because somebody's injured or there's some sort of on the down low problem between personalities on the team. But that's why you got to keep this stuff intact and really savor it and protect it, is because that's in some ways why I'm anti-trade right now, is because we have such good synergy and our defense is humming so well. I don't want to mess with it. Lock it in is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, Kareem saying, I want Colin DeMar to sign in one day and play 48 minutes and get 30 shots each. I don't care if they miss. I just want to cheer for them every time they get the ball. No bench breaks, just cherry pick. Yeah, they won't play. That's not what this happens when this happens. Usually these one-day ceremonial contracts happen in the offseason when there's no game going on. And it's like after the season's ended, okay, Kyle's done. He's not going to play anymore. All right, Masai, send me a contract just for, shits and giggles, just for the honoring of it, and we'll do it. And we'll make a whole big deal out of it and show it and say, yeah, my career was most important in Toronto. I won a championship here. I'm the GOAT. I love Toronto. Toronto loves me. Me and DeMar are coming here. We're going to sign one contract today, and boom, we'll say hi. We'll put a Raptors jersey over our face, and then we'll say we're done. And that's it. That's how it's going to go down, Kareem. They're not going to play. It's not like they sign them in the middle of the season from another team and put them on our team all of a sudden. No, they'll continue and play their whole contract with the other team they're on. And when they're over and done and they're retired, they'll come and say, hi, Masai, let's do a little ceremonial thing and film it and get open gym here. And that's how it went go down. It doesn't happen like that, man. Bryce is saying De'Aaron Fox is 100% better than IQ, Stargate. You think that? I don't think that. Not sure what possessed you to say that. Not saying we should go after him, but Fox is 100% better than IQ, bro. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that. Some of it is ceiling. I think that IQ ceiling is higher than De'Aaron Fox's. So, Bryce, I can't agree with you on this. I'm with Stargate. And part of it is that IQ is just getting started. He never has really had a long period of time as the starting point guard yet. And from what we've seen in the small sample size on the Raptors, he's fantastic. And in some ways, he's way more dependable than De'Aaron Fox. He's a better shooter than De'Aaron Fox. He may not be a better defender than him, but he's a better shooter and he's a better offensive player than him. And in some ways, if you're asking me if I'd rather have Tyrese Maxey or De'Aaron Fox, I'm going to tell you Tyrese Maxey. And I'm going to tell you that Emmanuel Quickley is more like Tyrese Maxey. And in some ways, that's the player build I want. So I cannot agree with this. I think that De'Aaron Fox has been overhyped in his career so far. They tried to make him a golden boy. He's not been successful. In some ways, the Kings are not happy with him. These are all signs that he is not as good as you think, Bryce. I'm just saying, that Kings team has a lot of talent. And in some ways, I don't know. If he was on Charlotte, he'd be a nobody, is what I'm saying right now. De'Aaron Fox would be a nobody if he was on the Hornets. I seriously think that. I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is. I think he's overhyped. I think he's a player like Zion and Ben Simmons that they overhyped early. And in some ways, he's not reaching where they said he was at this point. And that's why the Kings are shopping him. Stargate saying, Bruce, but is he better fit, Bryce? Well, I know that De'Aaron Fox is better than Bruce. I won't argue that, but I won't argue against Emmanuel. I'll say that. Nako's saying, if it's just Bruce for Wiggins, I think that's good value. Grady comes off the bench. No, fuck that. I'm not putting Grady on the bench just to have Andrew Wiggins come and play for Canada and be like all happy. No, Andrew's a veteran. He needs to come off the bench still. In some ways, he's not development for the future. I wouldn't bring Andrew Wiggins in just to start him. Fuck that. You don't take that away from Grady for Andrew Wiggins. I'm sorry. You just don't do that. Smooth saying, I keep on saying Vince had no legs for that game 7. If he had the rest, Toronto wins. Who knows after that? Yeah, it's so funny. Vince is saying stuff like, well, don't they tell you that I was there an hour before for shoot around? I didn't miss it. I wasn't late. Yeah, but Vince, you don't get it. See, that's part of the problem. You're not looking at the whole thing. You're tired because you've been flying all day. And you, it doesn't matter if you got there on time. It doesn't matter if you did that. You added a whole bunch of extra stuff on your day that you would normally not do on a game day. And that can mess up your routine going into the game. I mean, I'm serious. Listen, finding out last night that Oakley and the rest of your teammates were not cool with you going to graduation after all just proves my point that it was fucking selfish what you did. He can justify it however he wants, that he got there on time, that it wasn't a big deal, that it's so important to him. It's still a fucking selfish ass move that he made. It's selfish. He didn't think about anybody except for himself in that move. And you go ahead and make any justification. Education's important. There's this and that. Oh, it's something I always dreamed of. It's so important. You're such a nerd. You're so full of shit. You should have been dreaming about getting into the NBA finals, you band camp nerd. Instead of fucking dreaming about getting a diploma like that, you can get your diploma at any time. You can get it online. You can do whatever. You didn't need to fucking go that day. They could have had a special ceremony for you, just for you, on a day when you're not playing a fucking game 7 against Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sorry. There's all kinds of ways he could have done this better. And our front office could have handled it better by telling him no. But what would that risk have been? No, Vince, you can't go to your graduation. Well, I'm leaving then. Well, you know what? Fucker, just fucking leave then. Seriously, because you were never real for Toronto. And that's the whole point of this in the end. Are you a real one for Toronto or not? That's why you get booed like you do afterwards, Tracy and Vince, because you weren't. That's what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Let's see. All right, let's see. Bryce is saying he could be. Yes. Once again, not saying we should go after him. Yeah, I'm not into Sacramento train. I'm not. I'm okay with the Golden State trade, though. There's stuff in Golden State that I could be okay with. Gary Payton II and Andrew Wiggins for Bruce Brown and Garrett Temple. I don't mind that trade that got said earlier. G said, my issue with Fox, although I think he's good, he takes 20 shots per game for his 25 points. That means less shots for Scotty, RJ, Grady, Yak. For me, it's a no. Would rather a good role player. He's in that category like Allen Iverson. He's in that category like Bradley Beal. He's in that category like so many other players that come in this league that are high volume, low efficiency, and they annoy the hell out of me. I think Allen Iverson is one of the greatest players to ever play pound for pound in the league, but I hated his game. He was so high volume and so horribly efficient. He would shoot like 10 for 36, and that was perfectly acceptable to the Sixers organization because he'd get a lot of free throws too, and he'd probably get about 20 points, even though. But still, I'm just saying, the man shot like 10 for 36. I don't need a high volume guy like this, and De'Aaron Fox is one of these guys, just like G is saying. So I don't like these black holes that need a lot of shots, and they're just not efficient. It's part of the reason why Sacramento does not win. Kaz is saying Fox is absolutely better than IQ, in my opinion. We're going to disagree on this. It seems like Bryce and Kaz feel like De'Aaron Fox is better, and Stargate and I think that IQ is better. Well, we can agree to disagree. My perception does not see this trucker cast, just so you know. I don't think we should go for him, though. Yeah, I don't think he fits here. He just doesn't fit here. Stargate saying the thing with Wiggins, he still has 3 years on that ludicrous contract he has. That's another thing. The thing with Wiggins. Yeah, see, in some ways, I don't want toxic contracts loaded on us. If we're getting rid of a toxic contract with Bruce, we should try and be free and clear of toxic contracts in the transaction that involves Bruce Brown. Not bringing one back in the transaction is what I'm wondering about right now. Yeah. Bryce is saying true, but Wiggins would be a better than a BI, right? Well, not necessarily. I think that Brandon Ingram's more productive and helpful as a player. I would trust Wiggins more because of his being from Vaughn and being a hometown guy. He'd respect our team. And, maybe, hopefully he would. I would hate it if he came back here a native son and like did an Otto Porter. I don't know. In some ways, I would trust Wiggins more than Brandon Ingram, but I think that Brandon Ingram's a better player. So let's see. Fiercely saying, I recall us debating about having Kuzma to the Raptors after watching him play yesterday and hearing his stats. Hard pass. He may have a bad season, but I feel him and Poole are picking up the Wizards. These guys are not good players. Him and Poole, they're another examples of more high volume, low efficient kind of players. And that's who they are. And that's why the Wizards are going nowhere, because those are their 2-star players and they're garbage players, honestly. Fiercely saying vibes and bad habits. I may be mistaken. Guys saying I prefer Wiggins over Ingram for sure. I would just for hometown come back and like in some ways it may be easier to manage things with Wiggins with our team as far as how he fits in some ways. I mean, there's a familiarity that is nice with Andrew Wiggins that can make it easier for him to be here. And same thing with Gary Payton II. He's been here. He's been around our organization already. It's where he started. So in some ways that'd be a kind of interesting kind of come back around at this point in his career after going all over the place, Portland and Golden State and a couple other places. And coming back to Toronto at this point would be really weird. It'd be interesting. Stargate saying Wiggins could be that vet that has won a championship but was very good in the finals. We already got that guy. His name's Chris Boucher. And we've got, I mean, he's not the only one. Bruce Brown's a vet like that too. So Lawson saying Kuzma is so trash. He's very trash. Yeah. He's got some weird little doodle tattoos added on him too recently. Yeah, he's just not a serious guy. That's a good example. If you don't take your life seriously and you're just coasting through life, yeah, you can be like Kyle Kuzma. It's kind of what it is. Fiercely saying Davion has been guarding extremely well the last games against Curry, Trae Young, etc. He totally deserves his nickname Off Night. Yeah, he's been awesome. That stunted growth's been awesome. I think he may have watched it and he's like, oh, you're not saying I'm a good playmaker? Well, boom, watch what I do tonight, stunted growth. He was a playmaker last night. That's for sure. Bryce is saying, I heard Oshai's name in trade rumors and got sick to my stomach. I'd be so sad if he gets traded. There's some dumbass New York article that was written about them acquiring him recently. It's so stupid. It's just like anything that was written about OG 5 or 6 years ago. And how long did it take the Knicks to finally get OG? So seriously, I wouldn't worry about this, Bryce. This is just hot air. In some ways, this is great because it's increasing the value of Ochai Agbaji in the eyes of the league. And that's not a bad thing in some ways. Our guys get valued higher and higher and they go get paid. And I mean, Oshai's going to be what he's going to be with the Raptors. I like him, but let's not get it twisted. He's not totally integral to our success. He's a very good piece and he's somebody we'd like having around, but he's not absolutely essential. And things could happen at some point. We'll have to see. But I'd like to see him be here for a championship with the Raptors. Oh yeah, I would. G saying Mitchell's Wiggins is 27 million per year. Can they afford that? Yeah, these guys got to get paid. I don't know the numbers this year. Well, I wouldn't pay. I don't want to pay that much to him. No, in some ways, that's what I'm saying. There's so many toxic contracts around the league right now. Can we get rid of Bruce's contract without getting another toxic contract in return? Is what I'm wondering, Bobby and Masai. That's what I'm wondering. Smooth saying De'Aaron Fox wants to be a Spur. He preferred destination. Raptors need to stay out of him. Yeah, he's already made that very clear publicly. And I honestly, I don't know if De'Aaron Fox would want to play in Toronto or in Canada. So that's another thing why I value IQ over him, because IQ has, and he is here. So Nako saying, I think Fox would be better defender than IQ. The odds are it's taking more than just IQ with what you would have to give him up. I don't think it's worth it. Fox is better than IQ, but not much better. No, it's not true. They're pretty equal in salary. I think they're pretty equal in salary. You got to understand, Emmanuel's making 32 million this year. So if Fox is making right around that, they're probably an equal trade. So I will give you that Fox is a better defender than Emmanuel, but I'm going to say this, that Emmanuel is going to become a better defender in the next couple of years. So he could catch up a little bit. It could be that Fox will always be a better defender than him. But I'm going to say this right now. Emmanuel's a way better offensive player than him all around in all kinds of different ways. And in some ways, I value that more in this situation when we have somebody like Davion Mitchell around in some ways. Stargate saying at Bryce, yes, apparently the Knicks are interested in no shot. These American teams all want our players, but don't want to give us anything of value in return. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just stupid stuff. That's why I don't pay attention to this shit, y'all. Because either it's going to be just so unrealistic, it's wasting my time to read it, or it's just like going to infuriate me because the audacity of how people think that things should be and the disrespect towards us and thinking, oh, we're just a team that they can get whatever from. So, yeah, that's why I don't even look at this stuff, guys. Seymour saying Beef Stew is the dirtiest player in the league. Man, was wrinkling the Pacers minus James Johnson. James Johnson wasn't around to scare him just in case. That's another Raptor we should give some kudos to. James Johnson is with Pascal right now in Indiana, and he was around our team in the very important parts. In fact, he's in that open gym episode too with Colin DeMar. You see him in the background in some scenes. Yeah, James understands Raptors culture, and he understands what we did here because he was a part of it. So I always love James Johnson. He's a good Raptors alumni. But yeah, Beef Stew, what did he do, Seymour? I don't know what he did. Fiercely saying Wiggins is really hot right now. Had a huge game yesterday. January is a good month for him. I sense his energy is over Ingram's, who is very low vibrational, even watching him on the bench, not cheering. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. I think that's part of the reason why I said earlier I would trust Wiggins more than Brandon Ingram, because in some ways, once again, just like RJ, just like Kelly, just like AJ Lawson, it's a childhood dream to play for the Raptors for Andrew Wiggins, and he would respect that and enjoy it and probably play harder for it, like those guys, those Canadian guys do. So that's part of the reason why I would trust him better. And if he's surging and playing better currently right now, meanwhile, Ingram sulking on a bench, yeah, that's a good distinction, MJ. And I'm with you on that. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Fiercely saying it, Seymour, Beef Stew is more fighting highlights than actual game highlights. This is bad. I don't get mad at this kind of stuff, honestly. In some ways I do, in some ways I don't. Isaiah Stewart's just in a long line of bad boys, Pistons mentality. And in some ways he's kind of a retro kind of feel from late 80s Detroit. I have no problem with this. That's a team that I loved. And if he's new wave Detroit Pistons bad boy, and in some ways we need enforcers in this league for teams, I like the guy, honestly. I'm not going to ever call him a thug because I've seen the way he plays. He's not out there really playing dirty. He's just physical. And in some ways, sometimes physical things happen. I respect the fact that he stands up to people. I respect that he got really pissed off at LeBron James when he hit him in the face with an elbow and had his blood coming all over the place and he wanted to kill him. I don't know. I don't look at Isaiah Stewart like I do Draymond Green. He's not a dirty player, so to speak. He's a very strong physical player that plays with a certain toughness, and people have kind of get hurt in the wake of it. He's not out there trying to hurt anybody. He's not trying to swing on people. He's not trying to choke people. He gets swung on himself and busted in the eye. So I can't do this. I can't say he's a dirty player. I can say he's a physical player. He's a very physical player. He's an enforcer. G saying, for me, I would like another Oshai type. Plays defense, can catch and shoot, not a volume shooter. Plays his role and doesn't cost a fortune. See what pick we get, then make a major move if needed. Yeah, I'm liking this. That's why I'm saying, in some ways, what you just described is Bruce Brown. Let's just stay with what he's doing, and we'll go through with his contract and see it through. And it comes off the books at the end of the year, and we get that money off, and we can decide what price if we want to bring him back, which I'm not really into. Just play him through, see it through the end of the contract, and we get the benefit that everybody would want from trading to get Bruce Brown, and that's getting that money off the salary cap in the summer. So, I mean, there is an advantage to not trading Bruce this year. It's for our own financial gain. And that's what I'm saying. Seymour saying, eye candy, Beef Stew wants no smoke with James Johnson. Nobody does. Nobody does. Man can do a standing backflip, and he's a 10th degree black belt in a couple martial arts. Yeah, nobody does. Everybody knows the truth about the lethal weapon, Steve Blackman of the NBA, James Johnson. That dude is the world's most dangerous man in the NBA. That's James Johnson. That's right. He's got the Sorrento flag out there. Bryce is saying, actually, IQ might be a better defender than Fox, Nako. You can make a very strong argument. IQ has the potential to really put the league on notice as a bona fide all-star, in my opinion. That's what I'm saying, guys. You know, in some ways, De'Aaron Fox has had everything handed to him in Sacramento. He's a starter. He's gotten all the minutes. He's gotten all the shots, and he does what he does. Emmanuel has not gotten this yet. He was in the shadow of Jalen Brunson in New York. And he hasn't been healthy enough in Toronto yet to really see him get off the ground and really start scratching the potential of possibly what Emmanuel Quickley, with some good reps, the team connected at his highest level in health, can do, what he can do offensively and what the kind of stat lines he can put up. He could put up better stat lines than De'Aaron Fox if he finally gets healthy and he's a starting point guard in the league for like 30 games. That's what we have not seen yet. And that's why we got to understand this. There's a room to see growth in Emmanuel because he hasn't got the opportunities yet that De'Aaron Fox has. De'Aaron Fox has got all the opportunities in the world. He's been a franchise player for a couple of years now. Everything he can. He's what he is. But Emmanuel has not got the opportunities yet. And I want to discover what he would do with them. Yeah. Seymour saying Fox, Paul, Wembanyama combo is crazy. Yeah, in some ways, it doesn't make total sense to me. I mean, I get it. I mean, in some ways, it's just De'Aaron Fox wants to change the scenery, and Spurs fans just want a fancy new player to feel good about that. They hope that is part of the build to get Victor his championship, his first one. So Rice is saying the fact that the Wizards have more turnovers than shots made entering the fourth quarter is absolutely insane. Yeah, let's do the team stats real quick for the Raptors game. That was very interesting. That's a testament to our defense, honestly, that they have more turnovers than field goals made. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, in the end, they only had one more field goal than turnover. 28 field goals made, 27 turnovers. That's crazy. We shot 48%. Yeah, Yaka was really impressed with how well we shot in different ways in his post-game talk. 11 three-pointers, 36%. They only made 5 threes. They really shot bad, 17% for 3. Free throws, they got twice as many free throws as us. So Sean Corbin, Gigitamidis, Petraeus, and Tyler Ricks, I'm going to say this right now. The rookie ref does not like the Raptors. He has a proclivity to call everything against us. I can say this right now. I've seen him ref us twice this year. He's done it in both games. Tyler Ricks, if there's a 50-50 call or any kind of fucking call, he's calling it against the Raptors, guys. He is not a good ref for the Raptors. And I've only seen him 4 times ref the Raptors. We're now 1-3. But in some ways, we won that game despite Tyler Ricks. If that team had been better, he would have helped that team beat us. So fuck you, Tyler Ricks. I'm going to say this right now. Sean Corbin was on the level. He was fine. He's a veteran, 30-year ref, and he did a good job. And Giamidis, even with all the confusion, there was a lot of technicals in the game in weird places. There was even like, a lot of beefs in different ways and weird stuff happening. Some of the calls were kind of back and forth. I mean, that happens when you have a rookie ref out there that makes a bad out of bounds call, and then Petraeus have to come over and correct the call and say, no, it's Raptors ball. You idiot. You're trying to say it's the Washington ball, but it's not. And I'm the crew chief, and you're wrong, rookie ref. There was some of that shit going on in the game last night, a little bit. They did prop up them with the free throws, with 29 free throws to only 15 for us. It didn't matter. They out rebounded us 43-36, which is surprising. But part of that is because they shot so bad, they were getting long rebounds and getting their own offensive rebounds. Assists, 31 assists for the Raptors. They had more assists than field goals than the Wizards had. That's fantastic. Stocks, 15 for the Raptors, 11 for the other side. 27 turnovers, absolutely horrible for them. We limited ourselves to 14. 54 points in the paint for the Raptors to 40 by them. Once again, the Raptors are doing a really good job of moving the ball around and finding the right person to take the shot on certain possessions and finding good open shots. The philosophy was very echoed by Bruce Brown in his interviews yesterday, saying that, we're just working the ball around. We're playing free. And whatever is the right shot to take, we're taking it. And it's all for one, one for all. And we're just working as a whole group, not of a group of individuals. We're a group. And we really work the ball around to try and find the best shots with cuts and passing. And that's the good stuff that's going on right there. Yeah, Stargate saying Wiggins is a champion. He's that vet whom this team would need. However, that would possibly mean valuable minutes taken away from Grady, Oshai, and Jacoby, though. Yeah, that's the trade-off we have to remember and think about. That's why I wouldn't want to start Wiggins, because he's not the future. And in some ways, starting guys like Oshai or Grady or Jacoby is much more worth it going the future. You bring Andrew Wiggins on this team, he may get treated very similar to Chris Boucher. And a lot of people will be like, well, why did we even get him if he's going to sit on the bench sometimes for DMPs? I'm just saying they're in a similar place in their careers. And in some ways, if we're building for the future, Chris Boucher and Andrew Wiggins are great leaders and former champions in this league, but they're also taking away development time from the youngsters. And that's why sometimes Chris Boucher is sitting on the bench and people are like, why is Chris not playing? Well, it's because they want to get Jonathan time. It's because they want to get battle time, stuff like that. So Smooth saying it fiercely, Brandon Ingram is high all the time. Yeah, I mean, it takes one to know one. I'm a cannabis enthusiast. I know Brandon Ingram smokes cannabis, just like Kevin Durant. And in some ways, I mean, I think cannabis has a lot of health benefits in your life. I think it is actually good for you in some ways. But if I was a professional athlete, I would not smoke it. No, I wouldn't. And I'd especially not smoke before games. Maybe if you smoke after games, that's something. But in some ways, I would not be coming to games high like Kevin Durant does. He does. We know he does. And I would say there may be a correlation between some of the players who are not performing as effectively or as well as they could in this league to their cannabis use. I'm not saying that cannabis use is bad for people. I think that it's good for people with different things that they need help with health. But if you're a professional athlete that needs to be as clear-minded as possible, somebody who needs to be making split-second decisions on the court, you should not be smoking cannabis, is what I'm going to say right now. I mean, if you really want to do it in your off time and you're nowhere near a game, go ahead. If it's part of your pain relief and your recoup day when you're coming and resting, coming like the ice bath, the massage, okay. But people shouldn't be coming to games smoking weed before. And in some ways, I know some of these guys are doing this. And it would be an interesting study to see if you had the actual stats on the cannabis users and actually correlated and looked at how their performances are. Because in some ways, you can make the argument that Kevin Durant's career has changed in recent years with the laxing of the rules around cannabis. That, Kevin had more of a killer instinct in a different way about the way he played like 5 or 6 years ago in the middle of the Golden State dynasty. Maybe he's gotten older. Maybe he's not as he's jaded and he's not as into playing the NBA at this point because of Brooklyn experience and now in Phoenix. But I could also make the argument that maybe around when the NBA relaxed the cannabis laws and rules, that Kevin Durant's game dropped off as far as how serious and killer instinct he is. I mean, seriously, think about that. Listen, I'm not anti-cannabis. I'm for cannabis. But not if you're an NBA player and you're paid millions of dollars and you're supposed to be at the top of your game. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah. Seymour saying hi on that Don Julio and Popeye's chicken combo. That's funny. DeMar and Kyle brought up Bojangles on the open gym. I'm like, man, they're eating at Bojangles. Man, I haven't seen a Bojangles in so long. That's like an old chicken chain down in the South. Like they had them in Florida in Tallahassee. They don't have them up here in Canada. Never have them. So you hear Kyle and DeMar talking about getting Bojangles chicken and eating it in the hotel room and then having a push-up contest with Amir Johnson. I love that stuff. That's Raptors delight. Hello. That's a delight to Raptors fans. Hearing about push-up contests with DeMar DeRozan and Amir Johnson from the Young Guns era. That's a delight. Not that bullshit Sportsnet put out last night. No, it's not. No, it's not. G saying, I like that Davion is not a volume shooter and has been a huge reason the Raptors have been number one in the league on defense past 7 games. Scotty, RJ, Yak, Grady get the shots. In my opinion, we need a backup big. I think this is something that is going to revert back in the NBA that people realize you need role players. You need players that actually fill stuff. And you don't have to be an all-around talent, great player. In some ways, this is part of the problem in the new NBA. Everybody can do everything, is so talented. Look at Vision 6'9" and the failures of what Bobby Webster built with so many wings that could do everything. I'm telling you, a player like Davion Mitchell, who some people may say doesn't have a place in this league because he's a role player as a defensive guard, I don't think you're right. I think that in some ways, because of the way the salary caps are now and the way that the NBA is going, that building a team the old school way with having role players that fit certain roles and do certain jobs, and they are not all around talents that do everything on the court, is actually going to be the formula to success. Because in some ways, the difference with having Emmanuel out there versus Davion is offense and defense. And quickly is a fantastic boost to your offense. You can probably be a great playmaker also. But Davion's a great defensive stopper, and he sets that up. So, you can have those different kind of plugins for the game. It could be very useful. So, yeah, I mean, I like that Davion's not a volume shooter also, because in some ways that makes room for Scotty to continue to grow as the franchise face, and it gives RJ more shot attempts too. Grady more shot attempts for sure. Kareem saying, after seeing that open gym with Kyle and DeMar, I regret that we put Vince up there first. It would have been so monumental to have best friends go up in the rafters together. Vince's statue would have sufficed. Yeah, I was right all along, and I still feel like it at this point. I kind of changed my mind, but Sportsnet ruined all that last night. In some ways, I'm going to disregard the 15 jersey a retirement up in our rafters. If his face wasn't on it, I'd say it's Amir Johnson. I'd say it's Jorge Garboza. Before 15, it's for Vince. And you're exactly right, Kareem. This is what Larry Tannenbaum wanted. This is what Masai wanted. This is what I wanted, for Kyle and DeMar to be the first jerseys to put up there. But the Brooklyn Nets forced our hand with their bullshit this year. And in some ways, being a 30th anniversary season, Kyle and DeMar are great pros. They're going to extend their careers to long, long time. They're still playing right now. It just didn't work in the timing. And in some ways, putting off Vince until now, some people think we've waited too long to retire Vince's jersey. I don't think so. We could have waited a lot longer. And I completely agree. We should have just made a statue for him. That would have been more fitting and apropos to the contribution of Air Canada, to the country of Canada, than honoring him for team stuff on our team when he was absolutely one of the biggest villains in our history of our franchise as a player. So, yeah, I don't think it was the right way to honor him, but I guess we had to do it because the Nets were going to make us look bad. And in some ways, we can blame the Nets organization for this whole thing. Seriously, because they kind of were going to make us look bad. And if they had done it and we didn't, everyone would say we're salty and we're assholes to Vince and that he deserves more honor from us because we'd be nobody without him, is what they would have fucking said. So in some ways, we were put in a bad place where we had to do this. It was between a rock and a hard place, and we just had to do it. And in some ways, the difference will be felt by how half-assed it felt in some ways with Vince, even though it was an amazing ceremony. The support and the enthusiasm from Raptors fan nation was not what it's going to be when it happens for these other guys. That's going to be the big difference, and that's going to be the thing that's going to be eye-opening to Vince, hopefully. That you'll see true adulation and true loyalty and true love for Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan when their ceremonies happen. In some ways, you may feel like you felt it, but there's levels to this, Vince. And your level of what you got is the bare minimum, honestly. In some ways, what they're going to get is going to be, it's deafening. It's going to be a fantastic outpouring of love from this country and this franchise, these people in Toronto, these fans. Yeah, it's going to be a whole different feel, trust me, than what you got when those guys get what they're going to get it. That's right. They should have been first, Kareem. You're exactly right. But the Nets forced our hand, and we had to do it. Nako's saying, Bryce, they both have their defensive chops. I lean Fox because he's real good on getting steals. I will agree with this. Like I said, I think Fox is ahead of him defensively because of the steals. The steals are the best thing about De'Aaron Fox. It's not his 3-point shooting. It's not his scoring. The best thing about De'Aaron Fox is his steals and how quick he is as a player. But once again, I'm not hiring guys because they're athletic freaks like Scoot Henderson. I want players that can play and can contribute to winning. And De'Aaron Fox has not shown that he can do that. I can say, yeah, okay, Mike Brown and the Kings were successful a year ago or whatever. They did this and they did that. Well, I don't even think it was completely De'Aaron Fox. It was despite of him. It was more like Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk, and different people on that team that were carrying that team. And De'Aaron Fox in some ways dragged it down. I'm just saying he's one of those high volume guys that misses a lot of shots. And that's why. That's what I'm saying. Kareem saying at Seymour, tequila and chicken, laugh out loud. That sounds like a person is down bad or living that great life, whichever one you are. That's right. I don't know. He's talking about Brandon Ingram's life. I think that's what he's trying to say. Tequila and chicken. He's laughing. Seymour saying, Kareem, it's out for Black History Month, put on by both companies as a collab. Insane, eh? You serious? Who's putting this collab out? What organization has put this out as the collab? A tequila and chicken collaboration for Black History Month? What the fresh hell racism is this? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I mean, this is Trump world. This is the kind of bullshit we're going to be getting. A lot of stupid ass shit. I'm telling you, it's coming. God gives support and help the resistors and everybody who's going to take a stand against this horrible, crazy dictator that is trying to reform the government to have all stooges and yes men for him. Everybody who's thinking about leaving, stay in there and resist, please. And stop him as much as you can while you still can, as far as things, because in some ways your heroism in this time will be noted in case things go really, really bad. Well, at least somebody at that point was trying to do something, because in some ways I'm worried nobody's going to do anything about this, and that there's going to be some very serious changes in this whole entire world because a fuckface billionaire from South Africa bought an election for a fuckface con man, and they shouldn't even be there. It's like having wolves in the hen house eating all the chickens is what's going on with the American government right now, and it's not a good thing. And yeah, there's going to be all kinds of weird insensitivity like this. Like they named Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. The UK is not going to recognize it. I mean, they're doing stupid shit. Like they rechanged Mount McKinley to Mount Denali, which is the authentic name from the people before. Well, he reverted that back to Mount McKinley because he believes in white colonialism. And there also is a congresswoman from Florida that was put in a bill to carve Donald Trump's face into the side of Mount Rushmore next to those other 4 presidents. Which, if you don't know the history of Mount Rushmore and how fucked up that story is, well, this is right on brand with the insensitivity and the white supremacy of Donald Trump and his MAGA cult. So, yeah, I mean, that's just the damn truth. And it's sad. There's so many stupid people that are falling in line with this. Some of the people are scared, and that's why they're doing it. That's what I'm saying. Stay true to yourself. Don't let these bullies bully us into a very, very horrible way of life on North America. Let's not get it twisted. This shit is coming here in Canada too. And this is why Doug Ford has announced another election suddenly. They already sent me robocalls saying, are you going to vote for Ford? No, I'm not. I will take anybody but Ford. And just because he thinks he can get a higher majority by calling this election, let's prove him wrong. Let's get organized and let's vote Ontario at the end of February against the PC government that mirrors Donald Trump. He's going to use Trump as a foil. He's going to try and say, I'm pro-Canada. I won't let him bully us, guys. I'm going to stand up to him. Don't fall for that shit. He is Trump here. And Paul Revere is also. So if you vote PC in this country, you're voting for more like being like the U.S. with Trump in charge. So say no to a conservative government. You really, really need to do that right now because it's not even conservatives anymore. It's oligarchy. And it's dictatorship, and it's seizing control for corporations in a way that's so gross and obscene at this point. It's what's happening right now. We don't want this to happen up here. So Canadians, if we value democracy, We do not want to be trending like the U.S. is right now because they're slipping into fascism. And we don't want to do that up here. I want to believe in the system of government here in Canada that is stronger than the United States government, but I don't know. In some ways, y'all have to educate me and show me that we're better than them. Because in some ways, we are going to have to prove that in the next year with a provincial election next month, all of a sudden, because of this fuckface, and then a federal election next year. So be smart, Canadians, and understand there is a difference. Don't fall for the lie that both the parties are the same. No, they are not the same. And it's very evident since the inauguration last week. Let's just put it that way. All right. Sorry for the politics. In some ways, there was a tragedy in D.C. last night, and I want to make sure everybody knows the truth, that they deregulated the air traffic controllers and cut jobs already. And we already saw a tragedy happen because safeguards were cut out of the budget by fucking crazy ass fuckers that are in charge of the United States right now. That's what I'm saying right now. Yeah, that's crazy. Naka's saying, hot take, Davion is our most important point guard right now. That's true because Emmanuel's not playing. If Emmanuel was playing, that changes right away. But with Emmanuel in street clothes, I'll agree with you. That's true. Kareem saying, I know there's never enough young talent, but I think our fountain of youth is at the brim. We have so much in the pipeline. When do we just develop and create cohesiveness? That's a great question, Kareem. I would say that we're in a good place right now because in some ways we're showing that we're not wanting for any kind of role right now. It seems like we've got most of the jobs filled in some ways, especially with Orlando Robinson showing up recently. He's really provided some depth at center. It's been very much a breath of fresh air that's made me very happy. He's been exactly what we've wanted in a backup center. In some ways, I wish Bruno Fernando had been him. But that's what I'm saying. In some ways, if you got the right collective of guys that are really gelling and like each other as a whole, you kind of lock it in and you go forward. And yeah, you add a couple of rookies here and there, maybe a free agent, and you add to trying to make it better. But I think most of the nucleus that our team should be developing and growing with is here already. And maybe there's not as much changes as everybody may think because they thought the Raptors were so bad from the record this year as they think. That's what I'm thinking. There's a lot of tank people and a lot of people that want trades that really think we're nowhere near the talent level we should be to compete in this league. And I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong is what I'm saying. I think we are, put a pin in it. We've got a really good cohesive unit. Stargate saying Fox doesn't want to play in Toronto. He wants to play with Wemby. Ingram only wants to come here because he wants access to our medical staff. Wiggins is the better choice. Only that contract, though. Well, we don't need to make any of these choices. We could just go forward and do whatever we want. In some ways, it's not as on the clock as it was last year with Anunoby and Siakam. The Bruce Brown thing can go through, and we could just see him to the end of his contract and have him sail off in the sunset, and we'll get that money. So in some ways, there's no feet to the fire like some people think there is for the Raptors to make a transaction right now. There really isn't. I know that we've been antsy about moving Bruce because that's something we've been talking about all year. But in some ways, that was never, ever something that was mandatory for us to do. So if we don't make any moves like we do often around trade season, I'll be perfectly happy. I don't get upset about that. So we don't have to make a move for the sake of making a move is what I'm saying. Bryce is saying, I don't know, laugh out loud. Davion is great, but just wait till you see IQ's impact on your offensive side. You'll be saying IQ is more important real quick. Just wait till we get a full season of IQ playing. Exactly, which I hope we do get. You know, it could be a crazy thing where Emmanuel is perennially hurt so much that we do flip him and we have somebody else coming in all of a sudden. I mean, that is a possibility, and he needs to think about that. If he does really, truly value being on the Raptors, you need to think about that, Emmanuel, and the possibility that you get easier to trade as we have more and more success with you not playing is what I'm saying. And in some ways, who knows what they could get for him. I'm not all about trading Emmanuel. I really do like him, and I want to give him a chance. But at a certain point, if it seems like the pattern of him not being available with injuries all the time, well, maybe we do want to look at trading IQ and what we could get for him. So I don't know. G saying Fox has made $32 million a year and is a free agent next year. That means he'll probably get $40 million plus per year. Scotty around $44 per year. Yeah, I'm not about that. De'Aaron Fox will not contribute to our team anywhere near the level Scotty Barnes will. And that's the same amount as Emmanuel. So they could get straight up traded for each other. The difference is Emmanuel's on a much friendlier contract for the years to come that he just locked down on last year. And in some ways, Emmanuel's contract may look really good in like 2 or 3 years when things change with the salary cap in some ways. He may be underpaid. Now, this is the difference. Fox is going to be done with his contract this year. He's going to have to get paid again this summer. Well, yeah, that's a headache. And in some ways, that is not what we want when we already have Emmanuel locked down for like 4 years right now. So that's what I'll say about that. Kareem saying, if I hadn't quit drinking, I think Old English 40 and Mary Brown's would be a way for me to celebrate Black History Month. Oh, and a grape soda. You lean into it, Kareem. You have the right to, in some ways. I'm not going to tell you how to have your Black culture and Black History Month, but it is what it is. I mean, Old English and Mary Brown's chicken. I mean, hey, everybody's got their own choices. Some people like Popeyes. Some people like KFC. Some people like Mary Brown's. I say buy Canadians, so buy Mary Brown's. How about that? I'm with you on that. Smooth saying the idea of Wiggins is intriguing, but will he be happy here? I don't know. I think he'd be happy. I don't know if it would be like RJ. RJ is absolutely reveling in being on the Raptors and enjoying it so much. I don't think it'd be exactly like RJ. I think he would be very happy and it'd be fun. I mean, we got to think that a lot of his family's still around the city. I think that all these guys from the Toronto area would like to play for the Raptors. I think this just has consistently been happening. Delano Banton, AJ Lawson. AJ Lawson in interviews sounds just like Delano Banton. I just realized this the other day. Like listening to him last night in the interview after the game against Birmingham, he sounded like he's had the same speech patterns as Delano. Like they really are from the same part of Toronto, like AJ Lawson and Delano Banton. But yeah, Eugene Elmaroy had a dream to play for our team. One of the things we found out last night that I was very happy about was Keyshawn George. Of course, his dad, Dion, played with Sherman Hamilton and Rowan Barrett Sr. on Team Canada. And, well, he's not really Canadian. He was born in Switzerland, and he's kind of spent his life in the States. But they let it be known that Keyshawn George wants to be in the Team Canada program and play for Canada. Like, I love that. I heard that last night, and I was like, wow, okay, young man. Because in some ways, he doesn't have a direct linkage to Canada, but he does want to, and it's because of his dad. It's because of the legacy of his dad playing for Team Canada with Rowan Barrett Sr. that Keyshawn George is wanting to be in the player pool for the Canada talent. And that makes me happy. That makes me happy because it's ambiguous about where he could play. In some ways, he could play for Switzerland. He could play for the States probably even, but he wants to play for Canada. So salute to you, Keyshawn George, on wanting to follow the footsteps of your father, Dion, and play for the Maple Leaf. Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. Seymour's laughing. Seymour's saying it's a burger. The Dom Julio is in the sauce. Okay, so that burger, the tequila is actually in the sauce of the burger. Man, don't be doing this, man. There's people in AA like me and Kareem. We don't need to be going to fast food restaurants and having fucking Jack Daniels spiked in our food somewhere or tequila. Don't do this to us, corporations. Y'all do some crazy ass monstrosities like pizza cereal or like onion Pop-Tarts or something like that. Y'all are always coming out with weird ass fake food in a lab. I don't want no alcohol snuck in my fast food. When I go to Boston Pizza, I don't want to see, they've infused Jack Daniels into half of the menu. I don't like that shit. I know a lot of people say, well, it cooks off, Lex. No, it's a mentality thing for me. I have not had alcohol in 14 years. And I really just don't even want to get in that kind of mindset. Oh, you can eat the alcohol. Maybe you can drink it again. You got to understand it's a slippery slope with AA. When you're alcoholic and you're AA, you cannot think that way. And all this branding of bringing infusion of alcohol into food, fuck that shit. I'm against it. And if I come to a restaurant and they have too much of that shit on there, I'm leaving. I'm not eating it. So, yeah, they're putting tequila in a burger? What the fuck? They better tell people before they give them to people. Because if I got that and I didn't know, I'd be pissed at them. So they better tell us up front. That's what I'm saying. Smith saying he seems very happy in Golden State. Wiggins, well, they've been good to him. He's got it. He's got a championship, and he had all these struggles with his dad in the last couple of years. Rest in peace, Mitchell. I'm so sad about Mitchell Wiggins and his Florida State. He's a Florida State alumni and a great Canadian track star and also a great basketball player. I'm so sad about Andrew's dad. And the way the Warriors treated him during that was very respectful. It was very, very respectful. They were very understanding with giving him a lot of time. So he can't be mad at the Warriors. The Warriors were very good to him during that period of time with his dad when his health was declining. So Seymour saying, let's go Raptors. Let's get 6 for the 6. That's right. Let's go talking Raptors with Nick Reynoldson and Barry Taylor. I love that podcast, Talking Raptors. 6 and the 6. The 6 and 6. Here's the coins for Drake. Yeah, I love that podcast. Highly, highly recommended. Great Raptors, longtime podcast, Talking Raptors with Nick and Barry. So good. So good. So good. Nick Reynoldson, you're a comedic genius. I love you, man. I love you. Kareem saying, Seymour, laugh out loud. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. Okay, what are you guys doing here? I don't know what's going on here. It became all about alcohol and chicken all of a sudden. Seymour Pape brought up some alcohol and chicken. Now we're all on it. I'm an idiot because I'm going to try it. You going to try it? Okay, try that tequila burger, man. Try it. I'm not trying it. Tristan saying, Seymour, it's Popeyes. It's on Popeyes. Is that where they get it? The tequila burgers at Popeyes. Love that tequila from Popeyes. Whoa, Popeyes. We got that Popeyes tequila popcorn chicken. We put it in the batter. Tequila in there. You're going to get drunk eating our popcorn chicken. Yeah, love that chicken from Popeyes. Trevor Jays brought up that DJ Carton has found a new team finally. He is now with the San Diego Clippers. Yeah, I'm so happy to see this. I guess DJ has cleared waivers with us. And he's healthy again, and now he's made his debut for the Clippers G League team. I'm very, very happy for you, DJ Carton of Marquette. You deserve an NBA career, my guy, and the injuries have taken some stuff away. I'm sad that you're not with us anymore, but I'm glad to see you landed on your feet with another franchise. And, of course, it's the Clippers coming and getting former Raptors. DJ Carton is now on that team. Fantastic. All right, let's go do the Instagram stories real quick. Why not? There's Kyle Lowry posting the Open Gym episode, the fantastic media piece this week. The best media piece released in Raptors-related content this week is Open Gym. It had nothing to do with Sportsnet. No, it don't. And I love seeing it from both of them posting it, Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, both crossing team lines. They're king. They're a Sixer currently. And they are posting Raptors content on their Instagram stories because it matters that much. And maybe Kyle's like, yeah, we're such a shit show here in Philadelphia. I don't give a shit if Philadelphia fans are pissed because I'm putting Raptors content up in my Instagram stories. I don't give a fuck because this year has been a disaster for the Sixers. And I don't care, Sixers Nation. I don't care. I'm a hometown hero. You love me here. You will love me still. But I don't care. I'm posting Raptors love right now on my Instagram. That's what Kyle Lowry did. Marc Gasol's got a picture of him when he was young on his birthday. Happy 40th once again yesterday for your birthday. DeMar, there it is on DeMar's stories, the Open Gym episode, Sacramento, California, December 31st, New Year's Eve, 2024. And they sat down and Kyle said, it's like 2014 all over again. And then they just regaled us with their bromance, friendship, and all the fun and the good stuff. Thank you, Open Gym. Thank you for giving us good Raptors content. Right now, Kelly Olynyk's putting Andre Iguodala on blast for some reason. I'm not totally sure why. I guess maybe they're honoring him. And Kelly Olynyk likes him from Miami days, I guess. They're old teammates. So Kelly's honoring Andre Iguodala for some reason. Scotty has got a great picture of his starting five from last night with him in the picture. Mitchell, Barrett, Oshai, and Jakob, and showing that team unity. Scotty Barnes is all about his team. He posted something coming onto the plane yesterday on his Instagram. Going to Washington, he's wearing a black Kaepernick jersey. And I'm taking this as a very, very bold political statement that Scotty Barnes flew to Washington, D.C. this week to play the Wizards and kick their ass. And when he was getting off the plane, he wore a blackballed Colin Kaepernick jersey. That is such a loaded message, guys. I'm going to say this right now. Scotty Barnes is a very, very intelligent young man. In some ways, he's very smart and savvy with his personal image in the public. But this, in some ways, he gives you all the tells you need to know that he's a very conscientious, knowledgeable, intelligent young man that understands world affairs and understands what things are going. Now, he's not going to come out and just blatantly say things about Trump. He's not going to come out and make major political statements like a Fred VanVleet might. No, but he will make a message on the down low of wearing a Colin Kaepernick jersey that's black, that symbolizes blackballed for taking a knee and standing for black rights in the country of the United States against police brutality and Eric Floyd. And he took a knee and he got kicked out of the NFL. Well, what is Scotty showing on his day? He flies into Washington, D.C., the capital, with all the changes that I've been talking about on the stream already. He's wearing a Kaepernick jersey, and that is a usurper. That is a dissenter. That is somebody who's for freedom. That is a real American, Colin Kaepernick. And Scotty understands that. In some ways, that's the side he's on, and he understands the struggle. And he understands it because of where he comes from and his experience as a young black man in the United States. He understands the side that he's on, and he just let it be known. No, this kid, Scotty Barnes, ain't no MAGA. That's for damn sure. No, he ain't. And I love the on the down low political statement by Scotty Barnes wearing that Kaepernick jersey yesterday. Thank you, Scotty. In some ways, that was very brave. And in some ways, Kaepernick is a hero and somebody for you to celebrate. You're damn right. Emmanuel Quickly has signed a lot of autographs at the game last night. Even if he's not playing, he's doing a community service by getting involved with the kids, signing all kinds of stuff. And he was shooting around before the game, too. You know, Emmanuel, I'm telling you, man, just get healthy. We want you back. Now, Matt Devlin did say in the broadcast last night that Emmanuel Quickly and Kelly Olynyk are both ramping up their conditioning to be able to return very shortly. So I want to see Emmanuel back soon. If he's back to coincide with these big games next week, starting with the Clippers on Sunday, that would be fantastic because we may need his firepower and his ability to do what we've been talking about today on the stream as far as offensive to match up with some of the offensive juggernauts like the Knicks and the Memphis Grizzlies that are going to be playing in the next week. So if Olynyk and Quickly come back, we're fully healed and healthy, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. That'd be a real boost with some of the tough games coming up. There's Davion Mitchell on his Instagram raising his hand and putting shots up before the game. He went by that restaurant and put them on blast in Baltimore. It's really, really nice. Yeah, I love seeing Davion's highlights and his success. Really, really good stuff, Davion Mitchell. And there's that picture Scotty posted of the 5 of them starting lineup. They're with each other. I'm telling you right now. 6-1 record in the last 7 games. The previous 17 games, 1-16. That is amazing. Defensive turnaround for the Raptors in the last 7 games. RJ Barrett's got that very same picture that Davion Mitchell and Scotty Barnes posted of the 5 of them on the court, showing that team unity. And he's reposted Davion's picture of it. Eugene Omeroy putting AJ Lawson on blast for his up next game selection. He'll be there representing the 905 on Sunday. And also Eugene giving props to Justin Champagnie, his former teammate on the Capital City Go-Go, because they were on the Washington team together as earlier this season. So Omeroy giving props to Champagnie also for his up next game announcement. Now, as I said earlier, the Toronto Tempo has announced their first ever GM this morning. And I got to get the news on this in some ways. Her name is Monica Wright Rogers. She is a former WNBA player. Let me go look at her real quick. We're going to do a scout on her real quick because I want to know a little bit more about her because I don't know a whole lot. I do have parts of my life that I don't follow with the WNBA that I should know. Okay, so Monica Ashante Wright Rogers is an American basketball executive and former player and coach. She played college basketball for Virginia, and she was selected 2nd overall in the WNBA draft in 2010 by the Minnesota Lynx. She's also played professionally in Poland, Turkey, Australia, South Korea, and Iceland. She is currently the general manager for the Toronto Tempo after serving as the assistant general manager for the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA. So she's 36 years old. She was born in San Antonio. She's 5'10". She's 182 pounds. It looks like she played in the WNBA for 4 years, and then she went overseas and played at all kinds of different places. Came back and played for a little bit with the Seattle Storm around 2015, and she's also played with Australia and other places. She's a 2-time WNBA champion. She won in 2011 and 2013. Wait, where was she in the league then? Oh, she was on the Lynx at that time. Yeah, she's a defensive player of the year also. All rookie team. So, yeah, she's got some pretty interesting stuff. She scored over 1,000 points in the WNBA, over 300 rebounds. So she didn't play a whole lot in the WNBA. She played a lot overseas. So, okay, our former GM, our first ever GM of the Toronto Tempo is Monica Wright, guys, from San Antonio. Yeah, we had to go see who she is in some ways. This is important. Let's see what else is in the Instagram stories real quick. Slim Duck. Okay. There's DJ Carton on San Diego Clippers. Oh, Slim Duck putting prayers up for the tragedy with the American Airlines regional jet colliding with the helicopter in Washington, D.C. I'm telling you, oversights are getting cut from the United States government right now. And there's going to be so much bullshit, crazy, chaotic, dumb stuff that's going to happen because these guys are irresponsible and they have no regard for public safety. And they have no regard for anything other than the god of money that they are beholden to. They don't give a shit about the people. They don't give a shit about democracy. They don't give a shit about the United States. They care about their own pocketbooks and their own bottom line. And that's the only reason why they're in the government right now. They're in the business of making more money for themselves in underhanded ways. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. That's just the damn truth. And if y'all can't see it, you're blind and you're kidding yourself. There you go. All right, let's see. I'll finish it up. There's nothing that much more. AJ Lawson celebrating his up next game pick and also his 30-point game last night against Birmingham Squadron. Yeah, there's a lot of Instagram stories, but some of them are not that interesting. All right, that's it. I'll finish them up. That's enough. That's enough on that. That's enough on that. Smooth saying, when you sit front row, you sign a waiver absolving the team if anything happens to you. And rightfully so. Like, they should do that. They seriously should do that because, you're going to be coming in there and it's going to be pretty bad. Okay, I see. I've got a lot of comments. Y'all give me a cutoff. I am at 2 hours and 14 minutes. 2 hours and 14 minutes. All right, where am I in the chat? Where is it? Oh crap! I see there's a lot in here. Okay, yeah, I read that one. I'm trying to catch where I am in the spot. Okay, Fiercely saying, Lex, I'm a basketball fan, and I was turned off by the game. I like competitive display. Wizards players seem like they just want to hoop and chill. It was literally a scrimmage or a practice run. I don't disagree with you that, but I'm saying all 82 games of the season matter, and we can't control how they're going to play. In some ways, you got to watch them play against a bad team like that and keep their level of excellence, which I was very happy about. I don't mind a chaotic game. I watch a lot of G League. Trust me, there's a lot of fundamental, crazy ass shit going on in G League games all the time. And the less you have G League kind of stuff happening in the NBA, the better. Well, the Washington Wizards have a lot of G League stuff going on their team on the main level roster. And that's just how it is. We don't want to stoop to them. So the test was don't stoop to their poor play level. And we passed. And I'm very, very happy about that. Smooth saying, I would never sit front row to an NBA game. Too risky. I would. It's not a big deal. I mean, Shaq's retired. I don't know. I think that you just, like in baseball, you need to be aware of foul shot balls coming in the stands and hitting you in the face. You got to stay vigilant. If you're somebody who goes to a game to just sit there and talk to your friend and drink wine at the front row, you're asking for it. You need to pay attention to the game so you can brace and be ready just in case a 7-foot man is about to run into you. I'm just saying. That's what I would be like. I would sit up there. I want to go to a 905 game and sit in the front row. I honestly do. The next one I go to, I probably will. Kaz is saying Kuzma is the definition of a player only in for the money. Exactly. He has had zero passion for the game, more interested in his pregame fits than improving at basketball. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The psychology of players is important. DeMar DeRozan, Pascal Siakam, those are the kind of psychologies you want to have. You don't want to have the psychology of Kyle Kuzma. And that's why, in some ways, that's another reason why Scotty is so awesome and special as a young player, because he gets it as far as the work and the stuff you need to do to be successful in this league. That's totally it right there. Stargate saying the Wizards fans in the arena were mostly from Baltimore. That could be true. I would think that the people in Washington, D.C. are fucking panicking right now because everybody who lives there are federal workers. And these people are trying to come and take their jobs right now, Elon Musk. So who has the time to go to a Wizards game right now when your whole entire livelihood and your job is under fire from a crazy ass president who's trying to fire everybody all of a sudden? So in some ways, that's the thing. The community that goes to Wizards games, a lot of them are politicians and government workers. And they're under a red alert to try and save the government of the United States right now from a fucking wannabe dictator who serves the needs of an oligarchy. Yeah. Yeah, Stargate saying, can you imagine Gary Payton the second and Davion together in backcourt guarding on point of attack? That's nasty work. It doesn't make it any easier for other teams, that's for sure. I like the sound of it. I like the sound of it. All right, Nako's saying, Mr. Raptors Freak, Scout VJ Edgecombe. Yes, we have a scout for the day, and Nako's going to go ahead and take it again, as he always does. All right, this is a guy we need to look at because honestly, he has actually been projected somewhere around where we might be picking, and ESPN has said we need to take him. So VJ Edgecombe is the scout of the day. He's from Baylor, which is a good sign. That is where Davion and Jacoby are both from. So that's a nice natural fit. He's played with Jacoby Walter because he played with him last year, right? He's from the Bahamas, guys. He's 6'5", 180 pounds. He went to high school in West Palm Beach also. So there you go. There's a Scotty connection right there. So he's going to know some things about West Palm. So he might really fit with us, honestly. I don't like that he's a shooting guard. That's not the position I'm trying to get. But if he's very, very talented and very, very good, well, maybe I'll like him. Let's see what he's like then. We'll go and look at him on the YouTube. VJ Edgecombe highlights. He's from the Bahamas, which is very, very interesting. Let's get not just one. We'll get a whole bunch of highlights here. This is from 3 weeks ago. This is his mid-season highlights from this season with Baylor. So, all right, we don't need the noise, the thing. All right, those are not bad averages. He's averaging about 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. All right, here we go. The VJ Edgecombe, scout of the day. All right, let's see. I kind of missed that first play because I put it on full screen. It's coming back the other way. He's an alley-oop. So nice little transition alley-oop that he threw down there. Okay, this is a steal. He's coming up, and he throws it down one-handed right there with a nice hammer throw down. He's number 7. Okay, there's a rebound putback. Wow, that was kind of Casey Wallace kind of stuff. He's not a very big guard, but he can get up there and put a rebound putback like that over competitors. That's fantastic. There's a nice little bank shot over a defender. There's a corner 3. It's not a bad shooting action that he's got. It doesn't look fundamentally horrible. There's some pretty good footwork and dribbling around to get to the basket. Once again, he's undersized for his position, which is going to be a problem. In some ways, he's just like Oshai and some of the other guys who are going to play that they're a little bit shorter than other players are going to be playing against in this league. And that would be the thing I worry about with VJ. VJ looks like he's a dynamic scorer at all kinds of different levels. In some ways, he's kind of reminding me too much of Walter. In some ways, he's actually reminding me a lot of Walter. I don't know. He looks a little bit bigger and stronger than Jacoby already, though. VJ Edgecombe. So I don't know. That's a nice shot there. Baylor's a really good team. And they've been really putting some great players out with like Yves Missy and Davion and Jacoby. Yeah, this kid's all right. He's a real athlete. And I like that he's got NBA strength already in his frame. I do not like his height, though. I feel like I said, in some ways, if we got him, it would be just like we got a clone of Jacoby. And do we need a player that's exactly kind of like Jacoby? I mean, it's good for vibes in some ways, like as far as like Villanova with the Knicks, Baylor with us. But I don't know if that's worth it because in some ways we want a diversity of our role players on our team. And like I said, there's stuff that VJ Edgecombe does is already on our team. This stuff that I'm seeing here is not going to be added to add any new wrinkle. And in some ways, we've already in bed with Jacoby Walter, and in some ways, they're the same player type is what I'm seeing so far on this. Now, I would even say that Jacoby may have better defense than VJ because he's had such good like stealing hands so far this season. So I don't know. I don't mind VJ Edgecombe. I think he's okay. I like the Baylor connection. I like the West Palm connection. But I do not like the fact that he's duplicitous with what we already have on our team. So I don't know. I'm not leaning towards him. Of course, I'm very much on the record for saying I want a big this draft. But I think VJ Edgecombe's very talented. But in some ways, I don't see him as being much better than Jacoby, and we already got Jacoby. So that's what I'll say right there. Thank you, Nako, for the scout of the day, Gerald. Thank you once again. Carlos saying, morning, Lex from Philly Freaks. I still have hope for IQ. This is just injury year. We know this guy is the heart and character. He will bounce back. I hope so. Because in some ways, look, he's not like RJ. When he got traded to us, he was a little shaky about it. It's like he had to ask his agent, is this good for me? Like, is this a good thing for me? And he wasn't totally sure. I know IQ's a good guy and he's bought in and he really does love our team and he's become a really good teammate. But in some ways, I don't totally trust that he's long for the Raptors for some reason. And it may be that in some ways on the down low, they're going to figure something out. I don't know. And so I'm happy that we're doing well without him just in case. I mean, I'd love for him to stay and be the best he can be. But if we see a pattern where he's DMPing way too much, I mean, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. I do not want to see that at all. Stargate saying, yeah, I would give IQ a chance first. We haven't really seen what IQ can do at all. He's been injured. Yep. Yep. Fiercely saying, De'Aaron Fox is signed with Clutch. Too much drama surrounding him. So no, thank you. There's another reason why I don't want him here. Anybody who's with Clutch, I don't really want around this team. Shamshay's the exception. He's the exception. Most everybody else I don't want that has anything to do with Clutch. I really don't. Randolph saying, Lex, Fox did not do the extension, so Fox can leave in the offseason for nothing. I heard this explained. Well, then we don't want him. I don't want him here. I mean, he has not shown any proclivity to want to be in Toronto. He wants to be in San Antonio. So let's not move houses to make him get here for him to leave in the offseason. So I'm not about that. No. Stargate saying Scotty has been playing like a franchise player for the last few games, especially defensively. Yeah, this whole stretch. I really do look at that 2-game sweep of Atlanta as the turning point of Scotty has arrived, and I'm going to win now as a franchise player more often than you think. That he's figured it out, that he really, really is starting to click, and he's getting to understand just how much he can do to help us win in all aspects of the game. And he's doing that. That's the thing that's amazing. The defensive energy has been just 10 out of 10. And his defensive energy and what he's been doing is just fantastically smart. It really is on the level of a team defender like Tim Duncan right now. He's having that kind of effect. That's something that people are going to have to recognize and start saying, like I am already, that Scotty has an impact on defense like Tim Duncan does, as far as being a team help defender, a team energy setter, and a team leader on defense that gets all the other people in line around him so that they can be their best on defense also. And that's rare as hell. That is so rare. And you couple in, you can take some of the best stuff about Tim Duncan on the defensive end and the best stuff from Kawhi on the offensive end. You have a very, very, very special player named Scotty Wayne Barnes, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's see. Trevor's saying Jimmy Butler's card got declined, said ineffective funds. He's not getting paid right now. Trevor's saying IQ is not going anywhere. So you guys get that out of your head. I have to explore all possible opportunities in the head. And in some ways, it struck me that it's like, man, this is what happens when you're hurt and the team has success with you out. It's happening to Chris Middleton in Milwaukee also. They had a lot of success with him out, and Bucks fans feel like he's expendable now. It's easy to feel like this when you see something like how Davion works so well. In some ways, do we really need Emmanuel for sure? Maybe not. Although you would say, we want all the most talented players as we can possibly have. I just want to get usage from him. I don't want to see something like Joel Embiid got posted yesterday with Emmanuel down the road, Trevor, where you're missing a certain amount of games and he's collecting a certain amount of money. And what's the return on that? And I don't want that with IQ. I want him to be healthy and showing up and being a badass and playing with our team and winning the next Raptors championship with us. Let's not get it twisted, but if he's not going to be healthy, in some ways, you got to think about this. You really do. Stargate saying, I said it already, and I'll say it again. The biggest rivals the Raptors in their history are the Toronto Maple Leafs, not any other NBA team. On the down low, this may very well be true. On the down low, this may very well be true. It's just part of, some of it's white supremacy. Some of it's just like scared Canadian nationalism that's afraid of change and things evolving over history and time. As far as like Canada becoming more multicultural and having more of a mosaic of different people looking differently, some older white Canadians are scared the hell out of this. And this is what fuels MAGA support and stupid shit like that, is this fear of outsiders coming into their country and stuff like that. The Raptors represent this to a degree. And in this kind of thing that's really kind of what it is. It's old white established Canada versus newcomer immigrant Canada in some ways with the Raptors and the Leafs. in that stuff. A lot of newcomers love the Leafs too, and they get behind that too. I'm not saying that it isn't, but in some ways, the world of the Raptors is much more inviting and accommodating to people that come from around the world that move to Ontario. And but there, I want to say that hockey does try and get those people too, with some success. Yeah. Let's keep going. Bryce is saying, yeah, IQ definitely isn't going anywhere. That's Scotty's point guard. I want to believe this. And I won't talk about this too much. It's just it occurred to me recently. What would we get for IQ, and what would that be different? And could Davion be our actual starting point guard? Is what I've thought about. Is what I've been thinking about. Seriously. Carlos saying, I'm sure the front office has thought about these things too. Let's stick with our main barbecue yak. I have a feeling these guys will grow. I don't want any of these guys that choose their teams. Yeah. No, we don't want guys that are whining and crying about being on other teams, because the pattern is set by James Harden. You can whine and cry about being anywhere. You're going to go the next place, and you'll whine and cry at some point anyway too. James Harden did that in Houston. He did that in Brooklyn. He did that in Philadelphia. And at some point, he may start doing that in the Clippers too. So I'm just saying, these players that whine and cry about being somewhere, well, they're showing in action they may repeat, is what I don't like about it. That's it. Cool Cat saying, Raptors are being marketed as a rising fear to hockey monopoly. Hence, negativity is the first approach. Don't matter the cost. Entry to basketball is way cheaper than other sports. That's the one thing, is they can't stop this. Basketball is just a popular sport around the world, and it's not just in Canada. It's everywhere. It's growing. And in some ways, the fear of Hockey Canada is so palpable and crazy. They know on the down low, in some ways, the Raptors are more popular with young people than the Leafs are right now. In some ways, they know this. And in some ways, they do try and shape perceptions through the media and controlling it, corporations, old white people that are CEOs in corporate places like Richard Petty. He's a good example of the fuck faces that try and hold down basketball. And he tried to do it from within. Let's see. Stargate saying, keep in mind, both Ingram and Fox are with Clutch. Mr. Adele loves putting trade rumors out there about his clients. Yeah, I'm not interested in those guys. If you have Rich Paul as your manager, I don't want you on the Raptors, is what I'm saying. I don't want you as a coach either. Cool Cat saying, De'Aaron Fox is not a defensive player, not suited for Raptors. We want two-way players on a roster. I thought he was really good at stealing the ball. He's like one of the fastest players in the league, right? Carlos saying, I can't get over the bad voiceover on Raptors Delight. And why call it Raptors Delight if there's a significance to that? They calling it because it's a play on that song, Rapper's Delight. They're just, it's so dumb. It's cheeky. And in some ways, once again, casual Raptors fans that aren't like us, that don't respect the team, will be taught more to disrespect the team, even though they're fans, because of shit like what Sportsnet put out last night. Seriously. That's why I have problems with it, is because there's been a problem on the down low with our fan nation always kind of self-hating our team. And it's taught to us by the media. And that's why I hate this shit. That's why I made this channel. That's why I talk about the Raptors in an overly positive way, because I'm trying to counterbalance the negative shit that's put it out there that is not fair. And in some ways, if we were in a vacuum and they were allowing us to just be who we are, and without all the manipulation by Canada hockey, we would have a much better standing in the press and the coverage of us in all kinds of ways. We would have been shown more on TSN, in the highlight reels better. There would be more basketball coverage in general on Canadian sports television. There wouldn't be so pushing them back to like TSN4 and having to have this cable package just to see Raptors play, shit like that. So there's been a holding it down of the Raptors' popularity for a long time. And one of the ways is they make you pay out the premium to see the Raptors games through cable packages. They don't do that to Leafs fans. They do that to us. In some ways, that's racial. I'm not going to lie. That's racial. They're making people pay more because they understand there may be more minorities watching the Raptors than the Leafs. I'm just going to say the truth. Some people will say you're crazy for saying that, but I'm just saying this is just the truth. That's just what I'm saying. Fiercely saying, Stargate, not you calling Rich Paul Mr. Adele. Yeah, that's fair. Smooth saying TSN's 100% is better when it comes to Raptors broadcasts. Not even close. Yeah, it's the people in the studio that are better. Leo and Kate are better than Danielle and Brad Fay. They're fuckers. And Michael Grange is not better than Josh Lewenberg. Josh Lewenberg is way better than Michael Grange. I can point to each one of them. Even the daily stuff, like Blake Murphy's all right guy. I've liked Blake Murphy more this season because he's interacting with me and talking to me on Twitter, on Blue Skies, and in the Raptors 905 chats. So in some ways, I'm starting a little bit of a back and forth with Blake Murphy. So I'm getting more cool with him. But still, I feel like the Raptors show being on Sportsnet and what it's about, I never watch it. That's one thing I'll admit. I've never, ever watched the Raptors show. I didn't watch it while Will Lou was doing it, and I don't watch it now either. In some ways, it's partly because I don't watch that kind of Raptors content because I don't want to rip people off for their thoughts and ideas. I really do come about a lot of the things I'm saying from my own head. And if we come to the same conclusions, that's because we just did. So I don't want Blake to think that I'm an aggregator to the point where I'm just fucking copying everybody that everybody does around things like Samson, like you. No, I don't pay attention to you guys. I don't watch the Raptors show. I do not pay attention to Samson Folk at this point. And if I have any ideas or things that I opine about with the Raptors, I came about them naturally on my own, is what I'm saying. So yeah, Sportsnet in some ways having the Raptors show, it's great. The Chuck Swirsky show in the past was that kind of thing. But yeah, in some ways it's like Sportsnet, you drop the ball for the most part when it comes to the NBA and the Raptors compared to TSN. That's just the damn truth. All right, Mo P is in here. He's gotten deleted by Seymour. I want to see why. Bro, IQ is getting paid too much. That's a fair, valid point. I mean, for him not playing, I'd say, yeah, he's getting paid too much this year for the return on the $30 million we're paying him this year. That's a fair point. Wayne's saying, can't wait for trading season to end. Me too. I always celebrate when that happens. Let's see. Mope's saying, Mady and IQ played for the same alma mater. Mady. Oh, Maxie. Yeah, they both played for Kentucky. Yes, I knew that. February 6th. Okay. Stargate saying, Lex, that's why I call them tradeaholics. They get some sort of sick high from the whole concept of an NBA trade transaction. It's weird. They like the newness of it. They like the potential idea of what could happen. But often the payoff and what happens is never really like the full feeling of what they get enthusiastic about. It's annoying. It's kind of like what they talked about in the Sportsnet thing about Olajuwon coming here. That summer, we re-signed Vince, Jerome, Alvin, and we got Olajuwon, and we even re-signed Antonio Davis. I remember that summer very well. I was working at Ontario Place, and I was on cloud nine because we had just gotten one of the greatest centers in the history of the NBA, Akeem Olajuwon. Now, the high I had from acquiring Olajuwon that summer, working at Ontario Place in the kiosk behind the Cinesphere, was amazing. I was on cloud nine that whole summer because I really thought the promise of the Raptors coming into the next season was off the charts. Well, did that really come through with Olajuwon? No, it did not. And that's part of it. I think they do get little highs off this shit. You're exactly right, Stargate. It's like a dopamine release, these trade people. Mope's saying we need trades. Well, I'll disagree with you, Mope, on that one. I don't know why Seymour deleted your messages, but we'll go a little further. We'll see if you go any worse. The sheriff has his reasons. We'll have to see. Bryce is saying Fox was an all NBA player in 2023. At this point in his career, yes, he's better. I do think IQ is better for us, though. It's in the long term. It's the growth potential. And the opportunities for Fox have been there. And we've seen what he's done with them. The opportunities have not been there for Quickly yet. And that's the thing we're trying to say. Jet lag. Okay, what's jet lag about? All right, let's see. History repeated, and Kawhi made the shot to face Milwaukee. Okay. He loves his mom. Okay. I'm not even sure what he's saying here about. Vincent Lamar Carter never had a Shaq. He had a Charles Oakley, though. He had a Charles Oakley. Yeah, jet lag. So he's saying jet lag, history repeated itself, and Kawhi made the shot to face Milwaukee. Yeah. The Philadelphia one. Yeah. The dichotomy between the Carter shot and the Kawhi shot with Philadelphia is the opposite. And in some ways, that's the balancing out of things over time. Vince is going to miss that shot. It's so funny. Vince is describing, he's like, I knew it was going in. I'd already known it was going in, and it didn't go in, you fucking idiot. He's like, I know, I made it. I was like thinking about what am I going to do? And am I going to jump on the table and get all crazy and like cheer because I just hit the shot and won it? No, you didn't make it, you dumbass. You didn't make it. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Bryce is saying, but you all are right. We do not need Fox. We do not need to entertain this. Yeah, once again, I think what you guys say with Rich Paul and his tactics for getting things out there, Masai's a really big foil he uses. Rich Paul is utilizing Masai like the Dodgers are utilizing the Blue Jays. Let's just put it that way. That's a lot of that going on right now. Mopete's saying we need to trade IQ. I don't know if that's true. We need more time and see what happens. Wiggins is a Harrison Barnes. I think that's fair. G saying from Bleacher Report, Heat and the Rockets and a Fox trade. Rockets have a good thing going. Is this clutch playing games? Either way, it's a rumor as of right now. Wiggins is a veteran piece, but we need Ingram. We don't need either of them. Is what I'll say. IQ for Ingram, that's a crazy trade. That's not a piece we need or a piece that we do need. I think we need IQ more than we need Ingram. I'm sorry. Raptors have a lot of pieces. Let's see. I want to see what else this guy's saying. I know you delete him. No Wiggins. You don't want Wiggins. Okay. I want to respect great Raptors legend, Mo Pete. He says we need Ingram. I don't think we need Ingram. Smooth saying members of the United States and Russian figure skating teams were on that plane last night. Skaters and coaches. Rest in peace. Unnecessary tragedy. There's safeguards in this world for a reason. You reckless pieces of shit that are running the United States government. Yeah. That's crazy. That's horrible. That's so awful, man. It's breaking news. Fiercely saying the Raps win yesterday. Someone wrote Toronto sports is in a bad state. The team who should be winning, aka the Leafs, are losing, and the losing team is winning. Clearly a hockey fan. Yeah, I hate that mentality. That's obvious that they come from that side of things and the way they're thinking. And it's typical Toronto sports media bullshit. That trying to write the story for themselves. Well, the Raptors write their own damn story. Scotty Barnes writes the story. Toronto media, just so y'all fucking know. So get on the page. Raptors are winning again. We're playing well. Coach Darko's a success. So start writing stories like that and stop fucking around saying, oh, the team that's supposed to be winning isn't winning. Well, maybe they aren't supposed to be winning. Maybe the Leafs are doing exactly what they're supposed to be fucking doing. The Raptors are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. You guys think you all got it figured out and this is just how it is. Well, that's not the way I live. I take life as life's terms. And life's terms right now is saying the Raptors are winning and the Leafs are not. And y'all need to get with it. That's what I'm saying. Seymour saying, rest in peace, the U.S. and Russian figure skating teams. It's crazy, unnecessary, and stupid. And in some ways, I hope that there's repercussions and justice for this fuckface because in some ways, he's already proven he can be a felon and be the president at the same time. And somebody pointed out recently, half the people, 99% of the people he's targeting to kick out of the country, the United States, as illegal immigrants right now, have a better criminal record than he does. That he's a more of a fucking criminal than the so-called criminals he's calling the good people that are paying taxes, even though they're not supposed to be because they're illegals. They're still paying taxes. They're still paying the system. They're still doing things to help this economy. But you are fucking more of a criminal than them, Trump. And you're going to go and send people to their house like they're criminals. It's fucking crazy. It's such an upside down, fucked up dictatorship going on with the states right now. It's crazy and really bad right there, right now. Yeah, CP24 is reporting it. I heard this already before I came on the air that there was a figure skating team on that, and there's hardly any survivors. I think they said there's 4 survivors out of everybody on those planes in that helicopter. It's crazy. Stargate saying Luca smokes as well. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't see Luca coming in totally glassy-eyed. In some ways, I wonder about that with different Raptors, looking at their eyes coming into the arena for the pictures. I'm paying attention to that kind of shit. Not just with rookies have their rookie bags. I'm looking at your eyeballs too, Raptors, to see if you look inebriated. Looking inebriated. That's right. Let's see. Stargate saying the NBA is slowly reverting back to the inside game. It's slow, but it's happening. Also, it seems as if teams have figured out the Celtics. Seems like their 3-point heavy offense is not working anymore. That's a beautiful thing. That's just how it is. You got to stay quick and moving around in the NBA world because people will figure you out, Nick Nurse, in your crazy system. And all of a sudden, corner threes are raining down on you with your crazy trapping system. When somebody figured out the Celtics and they beat them, maybe the Raptors had something to do with decoding them and beating them in the last month. Yeah, I love that. There's another thing the NBA is doing to try and make things more global. There really was an interesting release yesterday that Adam Silver is considering shaving 2 minutes off of the quarters in the NBA and going into FIBA regulation time. That's a huge thing. In some ways, I can tell that Adam Silver really wants to put the NBA brand in Europe. Now, how could he do this? He went to the Olympics, saw Paris Olympics, saw Wemby, saw USA victory, And he was talking to FIBA officials while he was there last summer. And the FIBA officials, there's more to FIBA that's established than the NBA. Everybody can say NBA is more important in the world to basketball than FIBA, and that may be true. But FIBA has more governing bodies and more at stake with itself to stay the same as it is. And it's the global brand. It is not just the USA North America brand like the NBA. So in some ways, the NBA wants to fit with FIBA more and more in the global world. And they're actually thinking about cutting off 2 minutes from each quarter to make it a 40-minute game. And that would be the same format as a FIBA game. Darko said in an interview in the last couple months that it's been weird coaching in the NBA because he's used to 40-minute quarters in the FIBA game. That in some ways, the extra time in games, he thinks some ways contributes to the injuries. That there's more time, more energy expensed in NBA games because they're 48-minute games instead of 40-minute games. Then I'm telling you, Adam Silver, I shouldn't have done that. Adam Silver is that kind of guy that he'll do this. He will change the NBA to 40-minute game with 10-minute quarters to line it up more with FIBA to make it more adaptable to be intertwined with FIBA competition to make it more of a world competition. I like this. I'm not against this. Purists may be mad about this. Really pro NBA people that are anti-FIBA will be mad about this and say, I don't want this. I don't want the NBA to shave 2 minutes off each quarter like Adam Silver's suggesting right now. But I'm telling you, it's going to do two things. It may cut down on injuries, and it may also make the NBA more global league because it can be interacting with FIBA more closely. What's next? They're going to make a hexagonal lane? Are they going to allow goaltending with the international rules? Maybe, because the NBA really, really does want to be in the European market. And the only way they can go there is by playing FIBA rules. So that's why that's happening right now. It's very, very interesting development. I'd never think I'd hear Adam Silver say what he said yesterday about changing the NBA game from 48 minutes to 40. Very, very interesting. I guess you like war and innocent people dying. Who likes that? Who likes war and innocent people dying? Nobody likes that. No, that you don't even understand what's going on right now. You're brainwashed. You can go ahead and look at the thing that happened in Israel and understand nothing's changed there. They're going to still brutalize Palestinians and kill them, and they're going to live in an apartheid state. It's just all window dressing. It's just in some ways trying to get a brand around Trump that he's a non-war president. That's absolute bullshit. In fact, he said very, very upfront, he wants to annihilate the rest of the Palestinian people or kick them out of the country, deport them to Egypt and other countries. So no, listen, don't act like he's a hero because he caused a ceasefire. There's no ceasefire in Gaza. They're still murdering Palestinians currently right now. So yeah, you can go ahead and be duped by this bullshit. But yeah, you're wrong, bro. If you're a MAGA, you're going to get yourself out of here. You like people dying. No, I don't. People are going to die in the United States because of deregulation. They're going to die from food poisoning. They're going to die from plane crashes. They're going to die because there's somebody that wasn't there to help them that would have been there if we had funded it properly. There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of that. I'm starting to see why Seymour kicked you out. I'm going to kick you out now. Oh, I'm so bad at politics. Oh my gosh. All right. Is this, you know what? This could be our dumbass old friend, honestly, on this channel. This could be our dumbass old friend. I wouldn't put it past him to make a fake account and come in here because he has nothing better to do with his life. What an idiot. He should be out there fucking cleaning gutters on somebody's roof. He should be out there fucking scraping shit off a bathroom wall. He shouldn't be in here making fake accounts and acting like an idiot. All right, you're out of here, bro. You're out of here. I will ban him right now. Thank you, guys. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, what is this stupid? I'm banning you because we don't allow MAGA in here, motherfucker. And in Mopi, if you're a MAGA motherfucker, you're out, bro. No, this is a MAGA-free zone. If you're brainwashed by Donald Trump, well, you can't be in here. I'm sorry. We've already kicked other people out for that because MAGA sucks ass, motherfucker. That's right. MAGA sucks ass. Yeah, this isn't a free country in here. This is a Raptor Freak stream. This is not a democracy. This is a positive Raptor fan space where we come and talk about the Raptors. Now, in some ways, we're humanists. We're for humanity and we're for justice. We're not sellouts the mighty dollar like Donald Trump and MAGA and the Nazis that follow him. So, yeah, we're for rights. We're for freedom. We're for DEI. We're for inclusiveness. We're for woke. And you can be against that, but you're not going to fit in with us. So, yeah, you can see the door. You're out of here, bro. And you're spamming also. You're spamming also. You've broken a couple rules, my guy. You really, really have broken a couple rules, man. Yeah, I'm not watching mainstream media. I think for myself, I understand what's going on. The media is compromised at this point. I'm sorry. It's actually sucking the dick of Trump at this point. It's not against Trump. It's endorsing him. It's trying to help him. So yeah, you can go ahead and think, oh, I'm not watching mainstream media. No, I'm not. I'll listen to people like Robert Reich. I'll listen to people like Heather Cox Richardson, historians, and people that know what they're fucking talking about politics. And I'll get my information from them because they know what they're talking about and they're very factual. I mean, seriously, I don't even watch YouTube or anything for politics anymore. I'm barely getting my politics anywhere other than from those two people I just named. Robert Reich is a watchdog, a former a cabinet member of Clinton's presidency, and he's been around politics forever. He knows economics inside out. He knows wealth inequality, and he knows everything inside out. I'll listen to him. He's an expert. And I'll listen to a historian of American history, Heather Cox Richardson, who will write a glorious write-up every night that with no inflection of emotion or anything, just telling me like it is about what the fuck bullshit Trump is doing every day. And I'll get my information that way. And honestly, it's very well informed. Trust me. And I'm not getting half the bullshit that is going into your head that is fucked up. Yeah. Anyway, Mo P, you're an idiot, bro. If I had $1 for every MAGA saying mainstream media, I mean, they don't even understand what it is. These people who think that Rage Against the Machine is a mainstream sellout because they sing about fighting the power and against white supremacy. So the white supremacists turn around and say, well, Rage Against the Machine is a sellout because they're for the mainstream Biden and all this stuff. No, that's bullshit. They're against corporatism. They're against oligarchy. They're against fucking dictators. They're against consolidated power that's oppressive towards minorities. Rage Against the Machine. So don't give me this shit. You're not in the machine, MAGA. You are the machine as of now because you've assumed control. So don't act like you're the rebels or you're the fighting the good fight for the right side. No, you're not. You are the Empire. You are Darth Vader. You are the stormtroopers. You are the evil side. And everybody else that's anti-MAGA is the rebels, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, and Han Solo and Princess Leia, you motherfuckers. So don't get this twisted. You are not the right side of things. You are the fucking sellout Nazi bootlicking pieces of shit that are falling in line with corporate oligarchs named Zuckerberg, Musk, and Bezos. You fucking idiot. Yeah, you're an idiot, bro. You are an idiot. This is obviously Cowboy just coming in here under another name, being a stupid ass. Honestly, you know what? I will make you a mod. You want to be a mod, Fiercely? I'll make you a mod for fun. Why not? We'll make you a moderator. Just don't hit anything too crazy. You know, in some ways. You know what, Mo P, you were in here before. I know you're Cowboy. You dumbass. You're such a fucking dumbass. Get a life, Cowboy. How about that? Get a fucking life, you idiot. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are calling him a bitch because Cowboy is a bitch. He's a sorry ass piece of shit sellout for humanity. And it's sad. It's so sad because he seemed like a nice guy. I met him a couple times, but he's a fucking idiot. He really is. Kareem's saying no because we only like one Mo in here, and it ain't you. That's right. There you go. Carlos saying I was going to get popcorn when Lex tears up fake Mo's MAGA comments, but looks like he deleted it. That was Seymour. And Seymour is just being preemptive. Honestly, I don't have time for this. I'm at 10 minutes to 3 hours, and we'll finish up a double reaction very, very soon. Stargate saying, as I said before, stand up in the middle of the rink during a Leafs game and look around, and then stand up at the midcourt in a Raptors game and look around. No, it's true. You're going to see a very homogenized white audience at the Leafs game. Some people would be like, why are you saying this, Lex? You're so anti-white. You're so anti-man. No, dude, that's not something, bro. White supremacy and white dominance has been happening in society forever. And in some ways, if we really want an inclusive, equal society, y'all don't even fucking know what that looks like because it's never existed. You pieces of shit is what I'm saying right here. You know, dunce. Yeah, this guy's an idiot, man. You know what? I didn't realize this guy was going to go like this. It very does seem like it's somebody has to do with our idiot ex-friend who used to be welcome here. So he just came in underneath another name. You need to get a life. Seriously, bro. Seriously. Because nobody else is going to come in here and do shit like that just out of the blue. It's Cowboy, obviously, guys, who's as a Mo P right now. Stargate saying, then tell me which crowd most exemplifies the multiculturalism of the city. The Raptors crowd. The Raptors crowd. And I'll bet you the Tempo crowd's going to look even more multicultural. Watch. Even more multicultural. HC saying WNBA GM is with Clutch. The GM of the she's with Clutch? Oh crap. Oh crap. Well, it's a position of prestige. It's the first ever. Teresa wants to pick her. I'm going to trust in Teresa until I have no reason to trust in Teresa. She's got an open slate and she's got trust in Masai Val state right now. If things are weird and she makes bad decisions, I may not trust her so much later, but I'll trust her on this one. In some ways, it's an important position, a prestige, and in some ways, this lady wanted this job. But yeah, I'm wary of anybody who is represented by Clutch. Very, very wary of them. It's not a good thing. I'm gonna tell people that. Like, if you were thinking about getting represented by Rich Paul, think twice, because in some ways there's negative connotations with that, with certain people also, like us here. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. You're not crazy with that minority take. I don't doubt that we do that shit. Yeah. I'm just saying. That's just the damn truth. Let's see. Trevor's saying SGA dropped 52 with the win on Steph Curry. That's pretty damn good. I like that. I like that. I'm glad that the Thunder beat the Warriors last night. I saw that that was advertised after a game last night. And I was thinking, yeah, the Thunder should win that game against Golden State. They're a better team. Carlos said, I wonder how can the NBA be more global continental leagues and then have a Champions League? That would be awesome. That's kind of what they want to do. I think that if they want to move into Europe, they really do kind of have to take existing leagues and brand them with the NBA. I don't think they can build the infrastructure or get the support for a whole completely new league. It would be very, very similar to XFL with Vince McMahon trying to jump into the NFL's area of things, and it would be fail. So in some ways, what Adam Silver has to do is he has to finagle existing FIBA bodies to become NBA brand. I don't think he can build the infrastructure and completely build a whole entirely new team with a new pool of players and be successful. In some ways, he's got to talk to these existing leagues in other countries over there and get them signed on to be a part of a global NBA brand. And I think that he'd be much more successful doing that. Stargate says, I like the idea of 40-minute games. Well, it also goes in line with the WNBA because that's what they're doing already also, that they're 10-minute quarters. Yeah, bye, Felicia. Yeah, bye, Felicia. Get the fuck out, man. Seriously. I'll do this to every single account you make, fuckface. I'll do this to every single account and gladly. Gladly. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think twice about this motherfucker in my regular time ever otherwise. Only when I'm presented with a clown like him. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Kazakhstan, I knew Lex would agree to ban that clown. I'll ban people for stuff like this. This is not a free country in this stream. In some ways, I am kind of a dictator, but I'm trying to be a benevolent dictator. But in some ways, also, this is about my views on the Raptors and in some ways, my views on the world. And my political stance may not be agreed with everyone, but I'm not going to give a platform to equalize the opposite of stance and equalize it because it's not equal. There's a good and a bad side. And one side is for humans and humankind and diversity and people of all kinds being equal. And the other side is for money, the god of money and corporate money and praying to that and white supremacy and holding down minorities. And that's just the damn truth. So it's like I'm on the side of justice and goodness and God and what is right in this world. And the other side is on the side of Satan, is what I'm saying right now. And that's just the damn truth. That's just the damn truth. Rage Against the Machine. That's right. They're still raging against the machine. Y'all are acting like Rage Against the Machine became the machine. Y'all are fucking stupid as fuck. You have not heard Zach De La Roca speak. You have not heard Tom Morello's political stances. And you would understand that these motherfuckers are still raging against the machine. You think they're corporatized? You motherfucker, they are best friends with Chuck D. You're going to tell me Chuck D is not a revolutionary and a person who's against the mainstream and fighting the power? You're going to tell me the man who's saying fight the power ain't for fighting the power? Sorry, I get real mad about this. I think that MAGA people are so stupid that they did not realize that Rage Against the Machine has always been on the side of woke DEI for everybody, inclusiveness. The same thing with the Boys TV show. Y'all are so stupid you didn't understand they were trolling y'all. And you're like, oh, I don't like this boys show anymore. There's certain political statements they're making on this show that I just don't like. I thought it was a good show, but now I don't like it. Well, you're idiots. You didn't understand this the whole time, you dumbasses. That's what I'm saying. Carlos saying Rage Against the Machine changed my being when I first listened to it 20 years ago. It's amazing. They're an amazing band. I saw them at Lollapalooza for the first time. Before I heard them on recording, I heard them live. And when Tom Morello came out there with that crazy siren guitar, I was like, holy shit. I've never heard somebody do that with a guitar. It was like Jimi Hendrix again. It was somebody getting something out of a guitar, a noise I'd never heard before. Tom Morello and Rage Against the Machine on their original first album. And they blew up like crazy. They were the best band at Lollapalooza that year. And there was Primus and Alice in Chains and Fishbone and all kinds of good bands on there with them. But to me, that day, I didn't even know them. I showed up and I met them for the first time in my life and saw them live. And I was like, damn, they're badass. They're badasses. Don't give me this shit. Bulls on Parade. That's right. You love my unfiltered rants. Yeah, we're doing it right now. In some ways, I'm going to inevitably talk about politics. I'm going to try and limit it. But when I feel like it's necessary because a tragedy happened in the air of above Washington, D.C. last night that could have been avoided, I will talk about it. I'm sorry. I will talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. Kaz saying dunks for Lex for standing on business with Mo P. All right, I'll do that. I'll do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not giving myself dunks every day, but I'll do it today. And this will be Lex's second dunk of the year. I got 6 points now. So I got 6 points for 2025 right now. Kaz is saying Cowboy's a clown. He can change his name in our fantasy league every other day, but he can't set his lineups. Piece of crap. Yeah, I tried to ignore him the week I was playing him. I was like, I do want to beat him, which I did. But also at the same time, I was ignoring all that stupid shit. And the stuff he was saying was so dumb and asinine. Like, bro, seriously, once again, MAGA, y'all won. You got everything you wanted. Y'all should be celebrating. Why are y'all such miserable fucks? And you're still angry and coming at people like me. Y'all won. You got what you wanted. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Are y'all just deranged, miserable, negative ass motherfuckers that you can't? Like, I'm trying to make my life happy in the middle of all this drudgery and sadness and fucked upness with the MAGA presidency going on right now. And I'm still managing to find happiness and the joy, the solace of the Raptors winning right now and just concentrate on my own life. But these motherfuckers, they can't be happy. They got everything they wanted. Oh, they're pitiful. They'll never be happy. And you know what? They deserve to be destroyed for that, is what I'm going to say right now. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Mike's giving me a Lexathon, and Nako's saying, I think I'm against Cowboy this week in fantasy. Kick his ass, Nako. In some ways, you have been a deadbeat manager at times this season, too. Don't do it this week. Kick his ass. Kick his ass. He's the worst team in the league, honestly. Honestly. Salute the logical Raptors fanatic. Project Truth always. That's right. Stargate saying, this is the XFL. This would be the same thing if Adam Silver went to Europe. He'd be like Vince McMahon with the XFL. Salute to Mike. Classic card. All right, guys, we got to do this. Nako, he said his lineup? Probably not. Nako said a YouTube channel is not a country. You have full rights to be a dictator. Listen, this is the thing. It's hard to get a YouTube following. You could be kissing everybody's ass and you still don't get subscriptions. And I have never, ever tried to kiss people's asses. I've been authentically me. I have given praises and kudos, and I have given negativity and anger towards the rightful people in my eyes. And in some ways, I've never been out there to kiss everybody's ass to get 1 million subscriptions. Everybody, some people are looking at all the parameters of their streams, and whenever they say something, it falls off. They're watching this, they're changing how they're doing things to fit what the people want and the diagnostics of YouTube. I'm not fucking doing that. I don't give a shit about that. If I talked about politics today and I lost like 20 viewers in the stream, so be it. I don't give a fuck. But it's still somehow, some way, I do it this way, and we still have a loyal every single day amount of people that are here every day. I must be doing something right. And I don't have to agree with everybody. And I know a lot of y'all may not completely line up with me politically, and I allow for that difference. I really, really do. My whole intent for this is to educate on the Raptors in a more educated way so we can be smarter fans and root for our team better, but also to live life as better human beings. Because there's a lot of life health advice that I give on this channel from my own struggles with depression, alcoholism, suicidal thoughts, all kinds of stuff that I battled in my own life. I'm not going to be like KFC and hide my secret recipe for my spices. I'll put them out there because I want to help save lives and help people live better lives myself. This is where I come from. I have good intentions. I have intentions good for the Raptors and the Raptors organization, Masai Ujiri, Darko Rajakovic, and Scotty Barnes. And I have good intentions for common, everyday people that are just trying to have happy lives and live a life of freedom and happiness and health. And that's why I give life tips on how you can look at life in a better way to be happier. The words of wisdom from Randolph and Trevor, they help me to be able to get these messages out. So this is bigger than basketball. This is about being a happier person on this channel also. And that's why, in some ways, I don't want to ever become so jaded and negative that I'm not pleasant to watch because I'm so unhappy. I realize I have to keep a certain level of happiness to do this channel in a way that's entertaining and fun for you guys. So, but there will be a balance, and the feistiness is just a certain way that it is in some ways. I got to be 100% me in a world that's getting more and more inauthentic because of AI and sellouts who are just worried about towing the line of bootlicking. I will be that brave voice that will speak out and say whatever the fuck I want to say because I have the right to freedom of speech just like everybody else. And in some ways, some people are going to stop talking, like the media, like people that should be whistleblowing and saying stuff about stuff. But I won't be one of them. I will bravely say shit, even if it puts me in danger, even if it gives me enemies. I don't care because I know what's right in this world. And I don't think what the direction we're going in on this continent with the United States right now is going in the right direction. So I'm going to say what I have to say. I may not say it every day. I may not say it all the time as much as I said it today, but I will still say it at times. And I reserve the right to. I'm not going to completely take the politics out of my channel. I will never do that because if I do that, I wouldn't be truly myself. And I appreciate everybody for sticking with me that does. And seriously, I don't want y'all to be a carbon copy of me, that you think exactly everything that I think. I give you guys ideas and present ideas about the Raptors and their rotation. We talked about De'Aaron Fox at length today, and we don't all agree on him. And that is perfectly fine. And it could be that way with politics too. There may be some stuff that I'm very left on, and some of y'all are like, yeah, I can't go that far left with you, Lex. But I agree with a lot of what you agree on, and I will look at that part and focus on that. Because that's the problem. They want to divide us up on the littlest of things now. You can get on a dating app, and some women will not date you if you got vaccinated. That's crazy. They're going to divide us on everything these days. But in reality, that's their ploy to keep us not together. And when we realize we have way more in common, like even my idiot ex-friend that we're talking about here, that I used to really love like a brother, that's how they win. They divide us. They make us think that we're so different. And in some ways, he's just like me. He's not that much different than me. He's a little stupider than me, that's for sure. But in some ways, he's not that far from me. And we have way more in common. We need to remember that we are humans and we're humanity. And they're trying to divide us in all kinds of fucked up ways right now. They really, really are. It's really scary, man. It's really, really scary. All right, let me see what else y'all are saying, and we'll finish it up real quick. I got to do that classic card still, man. That's right, man. Let's see. Nako saying, Kaz is saying, Nako, did he set up his line? I already read that. Let's see. Mako saying the Pardon Bidens have not set their lineup. Yeah, he doesn't care about playing you. He doesn't care about playing in this league. I thought about kicking him out of the league, but I was like, it's going to just cause more of a mess. And in some ways, it's like, whatever. He'll go off in the sunset at the end of the year, and I'll never have anything to fucking do with him other than when he builds a stupid fake account like he did and comes in like he did today. That'll be what it'll happen. Let's see. Stargate supports the Raptor Freak dictatorship. It's much better than the Elon Musk one. I'm telling you right now. Kaz is saying, that's why I'm here, Lex. You don't change your stance based on other people's opinions. I may not always agree with your takes, but I respect them. I appreciate that. People can make the easy decisions for themselves and their safety, especially right now. And I don't get mad at people like that because in some ways, if you have certain situations in your life that you have to safeguard and you need to be safe, I get that. But for me, I'm crazy. I may be so fucking crazy and outspoken in the years to come that I may end up in really bad trouble. But I'm willing to pay that price because it's important. This world is important for it to be just and right. And people need to speak the truth, especially when the truth is getting all twisted and trying to be made a certain perception for certain people that benefits them. And that's not what I'm trying to do here. That's right. W Stream, I appreciate that. Carlos said, I love this way. Lex never changed. Now I want some fried chicken. It comes all the way back full circle to Seymour and his chicken comment earlier. Dap to you, Kaz. I appreciate you guys. Nako saying no two people will ever have 100% the same opinions. This is true. There's going to be somewhere where y'all divide. It may be pineapple on pizza. Integrity is key. I think that in a world where we're going to have less and less integrity, this is going to matter. This is going to matter. We're going to have to remember this. We're going to get lost for a little while. And we're going to have to find our way back to a just and right society because we're losing it right now. We're going to lose it in the States for sure. And I don't want to lose it up here. We need to safeguard our country up here. There's a lot of things that could be fucked up and crazy. This guy wants Greenland. Well, he's looking talking about us too. And I went to elementary school in the United States and I was the Canadian kid. And there were dumbass little kids back then that taunted me as a little kid, like little assholes, future MAGAs. They're like, you're Canadian. You guys, we'll come take over you whenever we want. God forbid that kind of shit ever happens. NATO, what will you do then? But yeah, I don't trust fucking what's going on in the United States, that this motherfucker wouldn't try and mobilize the United States Army against Canada to take over our country in an invasion of a strong arm thing. He's the same as Putin. He's American Putin. What the fuck does Putin do? He goes and annexes Ukraine. So that's what I'm saying, y'all. We need to fucking be anti-Trump because this motherfucker, as much as I hate Doug Ford, he's right. We need to safeguard our country from the United States getting any kind of crazy, wild ideas. Seriously. We should be allowed to be a sovereign country of freedom ourselves. If America is supposed to be a beacon of freedom, well, they're dropping the ball at this point if they're talking about taking freedom away from sovereign countries that are neighboring. And that's the thing that scares the hell out of me right there. Because in some ways, they're right. They could do all kinds of crazy ass fucked up shit to Canada if we're not careful. Another thing that they're not talking about, and this is something I learned from Heather Richardson last night, is that because Trump has cut off all the federal funding for foreign aid, now there's a bunch of foreign aid that's not going to go to other countries that's helping keep people alive, like from starving in places like Africa. Well, you know what happens when this happens? Somebody comes and helps them, but it won't be the United States because Trump's not going to do that. It'll be China. And what'll happen is China's influence around the world as a world leader will go up, and their respect and their position of being the number one country in the whole entire world, the most powerful country, is going to happen. In some ways, what Trump is doing is handing more power to China with what he's doing in this country. And it may be on purpose because the billionaires are making all their stuff in China. The people that were standing beside him in his inauguration benefit from China being stronger. So is this a Richard Petty submarining the Raptors in the early 2000s for the benefit of the Toronto Maple Leafs? It could very well be Donald Trump submarining the United States on the world stage in diplomacy so that China can step in and be the big hero around the world now and take over that kind of presence around the world. That's on the down low. People do not paying attention to this shit. That China is going to become the number one power in the world because of the weakness and the patheticness of MAGA and Trump. It's so crazy. These people are so pro America. They're actually going to make America fall to number 2 behind China because of this shit. I'm just saying, China looks like an amazing country compared to the United States right now. They're going to go feed the starving Africans. They're going to go take over all of the programs that Donald Trump's dropping the ball on, and they're going to become the big, bad help around the world and have a lot more political power around the world because of this. You don't like what I'm saying? Well, it's the damn truth. You think I'm lying about this? You think this is mainstream media stuff? No, they're not talking about this. A historian lady who makes her own newsletter every night told me this shit. And she has no reason to lie to me. And that's what I'm saying, man. You can believe who you want to believe, mainstream media, this person, Fox News, CNN. I don't give a shit. I'm going to listen to Heather Cox Richardson because she knows what she's fucking talking about, is what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Mike's saying, I did a salary cap forecast showing how much extra money we have next year. It shows Ingram is tough to fit, but it can be done. I wouldn't do it, though. Mike, you're awesome. Continue to put out your short blips. I think your format is good, man. I've listened to some of your new clips, and they're fantastic. In some ways, your longer clips may be a lot of work to put together, But if you found a way that you can do quick clips by just doing an audio and a couple of images here and 5-minute or 10-minute blips, keep going, Mike. You might have found a new format for your channel that really, really works and is sustainable for you to continue to make without getting burned out. So keep going, Mike. Project Truth always. And I love your work, man. Y'all follow Logical Raptors Fanatic. It's a fantastic companion channel to my channel. And we're totally in the same league. Project Truth. That's right. 10-4 to Mike. Stargate saying, yes, I often disagree with Lex on a number of things, but I also agree with a number of things as well. I am conservative on some issues and liberal on others. That's called balance. And that's the way it should be. And, this is the thing. The interesting thing that's going on in the States also right now is there's a lot of conservative-minded people that are getting handed their papers and leaving. And in some ways, this is the crazy thing. There's lawyers that have just been fired that were trying to prosecute Trump for his felonies and did. And well, they've gotten retribution now. They fired these guys. But I got to wonder, what do these lawyers guys do? They're top of their field. They're very talented. They're very smart. Are they going to be able to be the resistance that brings up the legal fight against the Trump administration and holds them accountable for all the injustices and the crimes and the things that they're doing right now? That's what I hope. Because seriously, if these people are not going to be in the government working as lawyers for the government, well, hopefully they're going to turn around and be part of the resistance, an organized resistance that will help take down the MAGA oligarchy that's developing right now. Because seriously, there's good people in the American government that are both Democrat and Republican. And those people that are middle of the road Republicans are not cool with this. If they like the idea of what the United States is, they are not cool with this MAGA cult, and they will be joining the Democrats to fight against them. It's people like Mitt Romney. People that were very conservative. Trump is making Donald Trump is making W. Bush look like a fucking walk in the day, his presidency. He's making W. Bush look like he was nothing. And during that time, he was horrible. And W. Bush was absolutely horrible. He seems like a great president compared to Donald Trump at this point. It's crazy. It's crazy. Carlos saying Ace Bailey would be the young version of Ingram. That's an interesting idea. Nako saying, I also like Colin Murray Boyles as a good forward if we don't have a top 6 pick. I think I looked at him. Didn't you have me look at him? Nako saying Bernie deserved better. If there was a rightful, just world, Bernie Sanders would have been the president in 2016, and we wouldn't have half the problems we have right now. In fact, we would have a much better society in general, and there would be so much more better things happening if the corporations and the Democratic party had not railroaded Bernie out of things. He's the real popular leader of the United States. He has a huge popularity and percentage. He's too old now to run for president. But honestly, all 3 of the last cycles, he should have been involved in the presidency. And if the Democratic Party had railroaded him for Hillary in 2016, half this Trump mess would have fucking happened, Democrats. And that's why I don't identify as a Democrat. I fuck that fucking party. I'm a leftist. And the Democrats aren't a leftist party. They're a fucking corporate party. And they dropped the ball in this election and allowed Trump to win again with their dumbass corporate bullshit too. So fuck you, Democrats. I'll say that too, because I don't belong to your party. I voted for Kamala, and I hope that she would win, but y'all fucked up this election and allowed this shit to happen, is what I'm saying. Bernie did deserve better, and he's the rightful leader of the United States, in my opinion. He should have been in charge and president already by now. Seriously. W to Denmark for holding resistance against Trump. Yeah, but you will see, this is why the mainstream media is not on our side. It's on Trump's side, because you'll see an article on Yahoo saying that Denmark is terrorized and scared of Trump threatening to take Denmark. That's the media putting that out there as propaganda for making Trump's legend more bigger and badder and scarier. They don't have to write it that way. They could write it very plainly and say Trump is aggressively asking Denmark for there. No, they put words in there to shape it and to put the image in you of what they want you to think Trump is. That's what I'm saying. The mainstream media is compromised. It's bought and paid for. Washington Post is bought by Bezos. Bezos is part of the problem. So you can't trust any of the newspapers. You can't trust any of the cable news network. You can trust people like me. You can trust grassroots way more than you can trust the mainstream media. I'll agree with this guy on this. I don't watch the mainstream media. I haven't watched CBC. I haven't watched CNN. I haven't watched Fox News in probably about 6 years. I'm not lying. Seriously. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube. Yeah, that's what I watch. I don't watch live TV. I don't watch anything with commercials that has anything to do with cable. I only watch the NBA on League Pass, and that's it. I don't fucking watch TV. So anybody accusing me of being a mainstream guy, no, that's not right. No, that's not right there. Stargate saying, dude, with the amount of Chinese folks in this country, who you think will come to Canada and aid militarily? So Donnie ain't going to do shit. I hope you're right. Because it is one of my biggest fears. As a young Canadian boy growing up in the United States, I know just how fucked up that country is and some of the people, the way they think. So in some ways, the fear for me is a lot more intensified than most of you guys because I have trauma from growing up in the United States as a Canadian. And I understand the mentality of the racism and the xenophobia of Americans in the deep South from where I grew up. So in some ways, this scares the hell out of me. I made a personal choice to live in Canada. I don't want to live in the United States. And I don't want fucking Canada joining the United States. Fuck that. That's the whole reason why I came here, is because I don't want to be in the United States. So if some way, somehow, my middle age, all of a sudden Canada's a part of the United States, I'm going to fucking Europe, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm going to have another option. I'll get the fuck off this continent because I ain't having this. And this is what my family's done throughout the last 100 years. We escaped fucking fascists, whether it was the Nazis in World War II in Estonia, whether it was the USSR annexing Estonia to be a part of the Soviet Union afterwards. We escaped all that shit. And well, if I have to escape the United States and their bullshit in my lifetime, like my grandfather had to do 100 years ago during the World War II, well, I'll fucking do it. I will do it. I'll escape this shit. I'll leave this goddamn continent if this is going to become part of America up here. God forbid ever that happening. God forbid. You know, you don't think Canadians are patriotic. You'd be surprised the nationalism will get come up real quick. In fact, I love how many people are talking about buying made in Canada in retaliation to Trump's threats. More and more Canadians are thinking about buying only Canadian-made products. And I think we should have been doing this all along anyway. Now, I've been doing it myself for a couple of years. Well, I'm going to do it even more intensely right now. So, yeah, you want to help this situation? You want to help with the tariffs that are being threatened towards our country? Buy Canadian, support local. Don't support corporation. Buy directly from people as much as you can because the food will be better. It'll be cheaper. And you'll also be helping out somebody in your community and keeping that money in the circulation here instead of it going to Galen Weston and the Loblaws organization. So I'd say buy Canadian, buy local, buy from farmers markets. That's the best way to go right now. That's the best way to go, man. Nako's saying Denmark, Sweden, in my opinion, are the best run countries. Yeah, I mean, statistically, there's stats in my field of study in grad school that absolutely point this out, that the standard of living and the happiness indexes, the longevity of the lifespan, the programs, it's all top notch in Scandinavia and also in Japan. Those are the best places to live in the world, are Japan, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Those are the 4 best countries to live in right there. Yeah, it's definitely a lot better. And some people are saying they've been going away from the States and going to other places like Japan or China, and they see what they're doing in these other places, and they realize just how backwards and how fucking behind we are in North America. Whether it has to do with mass transit, whether it has to do with services. There's actually, you know, China gets a lot of knocks about a lot of different things as far as being communist and human rights, but they do actually treat their people really good. They have a lot of a good social safety net over there, and they do really have a good transportation system that is way better than the one on this continent. And then we're way behind. You know, the corporate model of maximizing profit at the expense of quality and innovation is going to really hurt the United States in the long run. Those bottom lines for shareholders in publicly traded companies are destroying American ingenuity and competitiveness in the world. It's a byproduct of capitalism they don't want to talk about. Is that if you really, really want to make as much money as possible, you're going to dry up the innovation and the creation for the future. And China gets it. They're investing in it, and that's why they're beating the U.S. They're going to beat them in the end. It's already done. The U.S. has already lost. And the MAGA presidency that's installed last week is going to be the final nail in the coffin of the demise of the United States as the elite #1 global superpower in the world. And China will ascend to that spot. and they will be, in some ways, the cop for the world like the United States used to be. They're going to be the ones coming to save countries that are in trouble. And they're going to get all the accolades of being that beacon of freedom and justice in the world that the U.S. used to enjoy, because that's not who the U.S. is anymore. Nah, nah, there ain't no more Team America World Police, motherfuckers. Nah, nah. China will be known for that role in the future very soon. Watch. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Mike's saying, yeah, it's definitely a lot better. Yep, those Scandinavian countries know what they're doing for sure. Carlos saying, it's funny how good the Vikings turned out. You mean Minnesota? They're very good this year. Holy crap, they were very, very good. The Minnesota Vikings did very good this year. I'm very happy about them. You're talking about the show, Vikings? Okay. Loki is your goat? Loki? Loki from Thor? That's right. Floki? Floki discovered Greenland. Okay. Fiercely saying, I follow Logical Raptors Fanatic and have watched his recent clips. Very well explained. Keep it up. See, he has expertise that I don't have, Fiercely, and I love that he can fill that hole for me. Mike, I really, really appreciate you, man, so much. Our partnership and friendship over the last few years as YouTube creators has been really, really awesome. And I appreciate you, Mike. Some of the other content makers I've had ups and downs with, but not with Mike. I know that him and I had a little bit of falling out for a little bit where he wasn't around this channel. But I want to tell you, I've always very much valued you, Mike, even if we were at odds at times in the stream, because I felt like you weren't staying on task with the comments. But either way, I appreciate you. You're a net positive, way more than any negativity I espoused towards you in the past, just so you know, my guy. Yeah, Vikings ain't scared. Yeah, they did pretty good. Jameson Battle was very happy with the Vikings this year in the NFL. They did pretty good. Also, King Hussein, he was liking them. He was liking them. So Floki is your favorite character, him and Lagath. I've never watched Vikings, so I don't know what y'all are saying. Naga saying, we looked at Boyles. I don't think you loved him as a lottery talent, but I think you liked him. I'd consider him a top 10 pick. Was he a guy I thought it was like a second round kind of guy? I think that's right. Kaz is saying, Lex, I know this is off topic and you don't have to answer, but do you have any kids? I'm just curious. I do not have any children. I wasn't fortunate enough to have that happen while I was married. In some ways, I'm very happy about that, because I'd have ties to my ex-wife that I'd have to continue to keep right now, which I've been very happy to like cut and never see her again. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. At times I do, have regrets about not having children. I probably won't ever have children. There's a little bit of a window, a little bit of a door that I may think about it. But to be honest, the way the world is going, the financial responsibilities of a child, I'm really a thinker. I don't do things like without thinking. And that's probably the reason why I don't have any kids, because I've never been somebody who's reckless, and just like I've always had safe sex, and I've always been responsible about not trying to cause a pregnancy. I could have been irresponsible and had a kid by accident that wasn't planned, but I didn't. And in some ways, I'm proud of that. But also in sometimes ways, I'm like, also at this point in my life, I'm glad to have the freedom. I wouldn't be doing this channel if I had kids. I'll tell you that right now, because I'd have to have more responsibilities in my life, taking up more of my time. And I probably wouldn't be able to do this channel and do this. So in some ways, it's all for the right reasons. It is what it is. I have to accept that. I can go through a lot of depression, sadness about this state. This world teaches you that if you don't get married and have kids and buy a house and have a career, you're a failure. Well, in some ways, all those things I don't necessarily have. And in some ways, I can't go by the parameters of what tells me what I'm a failure or not, because I'm my own individual and I have my own life like a snowflake. And my parameters for success and failure do not have to be the same as everybody else's. So, yeah, I have regrets about it. I know I would have been a fantastic dad, but it just never happened. When I was 18 years old, I went to a fortune teller. Actually, I didn't go to them. I was with a friend of mine. We went to Miami to see U2 in concert, and we went to her aunt's house, and her aunt just happened to be a fortune teller. And well, she read my palm, and she told me when I was 18 years old, I'd never have children. And well, she's been right so far. That's kind of cruel to do, is to tell somebody when they're 18 years old, it looks like on your lifeline, you're never going to have children. Well, she was right. At least she was right. The plan was to have kids when I was married, but my alcoholism and my problems with myself at that time disintegrated our marriage before we had children. And thank God, because she wasn't the right person for me. And I'm really happy since she's been gone out of my life. Really, really am. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. In some ways, people will tell you you're a failure in life if you don't procreate. But I don't know if that's totally true. I think in the nature world, there's all kinds of different organisms that get the opportunity to live, but not necessarily procreate. And that's just a part of life and how it is. In some ways, it is a damn shame that I won't pass on my genes to somebody else. But also at the same time, I look at it as like I'm in some ways happy I'm not bringing another person in this world to deal with the bullshit that's coming, is what I'm saying. So I don't know. I have to game it for the positive side of things. I could get real depressed and feel like, oh, what if? What if? Oh, Lex, so what if you should have had a kid? But I can't do that. I get suicidal and I live an unhappy life. This is part of me choosing to be happy. Like we've talked about on the stream, you have a choice every day to be happy. Well, I'm going to look at what I have and enjoy and revel in the freedom of being a single man that has no children and the freedom that that begets. So I'll take that side of the grass and say it's greener than the other side that I don't know, that I will possibly never know. It is what it is. I get a little bit of it with my nephew and my niece and being able to be a mentor to them. And also, in some ways, if I'm able to do this channel, I look at it this way. If I'm not able to impart my wisdom and who I am to a offspring of my own, at least I can share my views and my worldview and how I am with all of you guys through this channel. And maybe I'll have an impact in the world in that way. So it's a touchy subject for me. I'm not going to lie, Cass, but I've done a lot of work in sussing it all out mentally to be okay with it. But as you can tell, I still get emotional about it. I do because I was that kind of guy when I was young that I did want to have kids. I wasn't one of these guys that said, I don't want to have kids ever for my life. No, I did. I intended to want to have kids. It just never worked out. And it is what it is. A lot of it is alcoholism that robbed my ability to have children. Is my problem with alcohols just did not allow me to do it in the time frame when I was supposed to, because I was too busy getting sober instead of having kids and just trying to get my life together. Smooth saying, I was reading that a lot of U.S. citizens living here in Canada are renouncing their citizenship. Yeah, that struck me too, as far as things, because I do have it also. But I'm also thinking that this may actually be something I may need to hold on to just for safety in some ways. So I don't know if it's a smart decision to renounce your American citizenship if you're living in Canada right now. I don't know if that would be smart, just in case things do get really dark. I'm just saying. So I'm not going to do that myself. I may do it in my heart, but I won't do it legally. We went through too much to do that. Yeah. Carlos saying, I can see the U.S. breaking up and see states seceding over these 4 years. Jeez. That's the thing I worry about, is in some ways the internal strife in that country is going to be really crazy. Like at some point, everybody's got to stand up for themselves and say the workers unite and we're sick of this shit. You guys are building your bunkers and your 10th mansions and you're buying up all of Hawaii to build a fortress, Mark Zuckerberg. What one point are we supposed to starve and sit outside in the park and be okay with this while you guys are just obscene with your psychopathic hoarding of wealth? Seriously, it's psychopathic. The gains in corporations go all the way to the top, and none of the gains are shared with the working class. And we're going to have enough at some point. And that's what I'm saying. At a certain point, the American public is going to have to stand up for itself and do something about it. I don't know if it'll be sanctuary cities or blue states that are seceding or saying, we don't want to be a part of this. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that could happen. In some ways, it's a very chaotic situation, but they need to safeguard democracy right now. Because democracy is exactly in peril and is in trouble. It's being throttled around the neck by Donald Trump and Elon Musk right now. And in some ways, it may be passing out. And that's scary as fuck. That is scary as fuck, because they're testing the stress test of the United States government, and whether it's a free democracy for the people, by the people, because it ain't looking like that right now when you've installed a very, very fundamentalistly religious Supreme Court that's going to go with the flow of the president. When you have both the chambers of the Congress that are in support of him, he has free reign to do where the fuck he wants. And it's crazy because he will. And he will abuse that power and he will push the limits as far as he can until people finally say no. And they stand up and they stop him. I don't know if we're going to stay it in time to stop misery and mass murder and pain and killing and sadness and a lot of violence that didn't need to happen if we had just been sane and humanitarian about making the rules for society in the United States. It's scary, man. I don't want to get dystopian, but I can see how this could go this way. Seriously. Respect the fiercey. You're the bomb. And Cass saying, Smooth, I heard that too. And some are selling their properties in the US as well. This is very much happening. And this is the repercussions for unpopular shit. Teslas are getting sent back. People in Florida, snowbirds that have lived in the United States for the longest time are selling their properties and coming back to Canada because they feel like Donald Trump has been disrespectful to their home country of Canada, and they don't feel like spending money in the U.S. economy and helping put bottom line and spending money here. You're losing business, Ron DeSantis, and your stupid ass backwards MAGA state, because the Canadian snowbirds are flying back because they've heard enough disrespectful shit from that fucking party. Seriously. Smooth saying it's a complicated process, but it's happening. Yeah, they're going to do this. They're going to sell their properties and they're going to take their money away from the United States and spend it back up here. They may have to deal with the winter and the snow, but in some ways they're going to make that change because they are on principle and they understand that this is what's right. And I stand by those Canadians that are returning to the Canada from the United States. I stand on that. Yeah. I stand with them. Yeah, 10-4. Thanks for answering. No problem, Kaz. No problem. It's a very personal thing. But once again, no limits on what I'll talk about here. I will talk about some crazy ass shit that nobody else would be feeling like they can. But I really have done a lot of work on myself to be okay with the stage of what's going on in my life. You know, I've been with Adriana for 5 years, and we're not technically together right now. That's why I say I'm Signal. We still see each other casually just because of companionship, and we really do enjoy and love each other, but we can't be together. And she will never have children. So when I started dating her 5 years ago, that was part of the deal was, you know, if you're going to date me, you're never going to be able to have children with me because I'm not going to have children in my life. So I had to accept that as part of my relationship with her when I started dating her. But who knows? Now that we're not together, and I do have the open reign to meet somebody else and start a new life, there is a slight possibility that I can meet somebody new and change the fortune teller's outcome for me after all. In some ways, I kind of want to do it, but in some ways also I'm like, man, why do I want to bring a kid into this world when this seems like it's so fucked up where we're going? It's really what I really think about all this. And that's part of the reason why I haven't had children, because it didn't make sense economically at most of the times in my life. So I'm not going to be irresponsible and just have a kid and put myself in a bind because of that. A lot of people do that every day. And that's called difference in Planned Parenthood and not being Planned Parenthood. And I don't get mad at those people. They're their own person, but I'm that kind of person that's very like regimented and thought out. And that's part of the reason why I have no kids. Is right there. That's right. Not because saying lost my job because the current state of economics. I was going to leave anyway. Though have AEI. Good. That's good to hear. The company I work for is going to go under though. The battery company. So you lost your job, Gerald. You should get in the car and come out here, man, and hang out with me. Maybe when the snow disappears and we can do stuff out in the yard. You need to come out here and visit me at the place right away, Gerald. I want you to see where I'm at. And I want you to be able to come out here. And I need to come to Mississauga and see you too, now that I'm on wheels and able to come that. We got to plan this in the spring when the temperatures get warmer, that you're going to make a trip here and I'm going to make a trip to you and your place and finally come out and see where you're at in Mississauga. Okay? We're going to do this, Nako, for sure. All right? All right. Let's see. Ninja is saying probably the realest Raptors Freak stream I've watched. Keep being you, Lex. Man, I know Ninja, your stateside. And I want everybody to be in a peaceful, loving, happy place where people are taken care of. We make a choice in a free society. We have so much wealth and resources and ability to take care of everyone. But we have a bunch of psychopaths that have power that are consolidating and taking all the riches and all the wealth to the top to people that do not need it. If we were just and right in a real utopia, we would be taking care of what it says on the Statue of Liberty. Give me you're tired, you're sick, you're poor. And we'd be taking care of the bottom of it. If we were truly a great country in the United States, the people at the very bottom, the minorities, the sick, the elderly, the disabled, everybody that needs help, the trans people would be taken care of and elevated and equalized instead of denigrated and subjugated to what they're going to get now. That is not making America great again. No, that's not. If America was great, its greatness is in how it treats its most vulnerable people. And the sad thing is we're going to go into an age where the vulnerable are not going to be taken into consideration, and they may fall through the cracks in really fucked up, sad, tragic ways like that plane crash last night. So I want God to look out over the whole entire continent of North America, including Mexico, Canada, and the United States, and all the innocent people that are caught in the middle of a crazy ass oligarchy that's developing on this continent and the United States government. I just hope and pray that people can be safe. There's less violence, but we can make changes in a peaceful way to get it better and more equitable, because we're going in the wrong direction right now. And it's going to look pretty dark in the next 4 years. In some ways, they're going to do so bad. There's going to be a counter swing like a pendulum in a clock that's going to swing right back the other way. And it's going to be so unpopular. If our democracy is still intact in the United States, they will swing the power back. But if he gets in there and he gets absolute power and crushes the ability to get him out, like they're trying to say he should be allowed to run for president after this term because he didn't have consecutive terms. But the ruling is that you can't be president more than twice because of FDR. But these motherfuckers are trying to break the rules so that Trump can be president for life. And that's what's scary about democracy right now. Will democracy be able to right itself to expunge MAGA and its fucked upness in the end when its time is up? Or will they instill their roots and hold it down and not allow for a change in government peacefully, because they're dictators now? And they have decided the oligarchy class is in charge with the figurehead leader of Donald Trump. Because that's the way that scares the shit out of me right there. That's what scares the shit out of me. So Smooth saying, breaking news, Terry Rozier is being investigated for manipulating games. Maybe that's part of the reason why Jimmy Butler wants out of there, because he's seen what Terry Rozier is doing on the download. Alexathon. Yeah, we're going to go 4 hours today. This will be the longest stream I've done in a long time. Partly it's because of the politics. The politics have added another hour or two, and it is what it is. In some ways, I've needed to get this out. I won't do politics every day, so we'll go real heavy on some days. How about that? Yeah. Oh, man. Carlos saying, oh, shit, we have another Jonte. Well, let's see what happens with Terry Rozier. That is crazy, man. Mike saying, my stoppage was from not enough time and spinning my wheels in that older format. I had all the extras, but my videos were too long to take in all the info. Going back to the basics and focus topics. Perfect. I think that you're going to do well with that, because in some ways, one of the things I noticed with your longer stuff was you were meandering too much and kind of repeating too much. So maybe the smaller times, they'd be more concise and less repetitive. So Mike, whatever you're doing, support. Fiercely saying, good luck, Pat Riley, with Jimmy. And now Terry, wow. Miami Heat season totally derailed. And the crazy thing about the Heat season is they're in the middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference. So they're going to fall. This Jimmy Butler thing has really hurt them. And now this Terry Rozier thing is going to make it even worse. So it could very well be Miami Heat, especially if they're going to be a black eye with gambling allegations around them, that Adam Silver may be very happy that the Miami Heat fall out of the playoff picture and fall down into the bottom five, like where we are. And well, somebody goes down, somebody's got to go up. And that's what I want to say about that. Somebody's got to go up. That's right. That's so much drama for the Heat right now. Holy hell. Yeah. Nightmare season. In some ways, it's kind of mirroring what happened to us last year. What's going on with them right now. That's right. Kaz is saying, I have a 4.5-year-old son and a daughter on the way. That will be enough kids for me. Hey, everybody's got their own family planning choices and different, things and stuff like that. I think the blessings of having children is something to be very, very cherished and very, very serious about. Seriously, because there's a responsibility. You're bringing somebody in the world, and in some ways, they didn't ask you to bring them in the world. You're bringing them in, so you better help them out. And there's all kinds of different levels of parents that are good and bad and absent and there and stuff like that. It's really easy to be somebody who fathers a kid. It's really hard to be a dad, is what I'll say. So, yeah, if I had kids, I'd be very, very much into it, and I would be very on top of it. I would not be an absent father. I would be very much on top of things. I'll tell you that right now. Carlos saying, yeah, I have two myself, KD and Santino. Santino's just born this past year. Kids are hard work, and it's fine to not have them, Lex. It's just tough because there is a lot of media and a lot of people that judge. Like, I have a lot of friends from back in the day that I'm not friends with or see anymore because they're kids and their family lifestyle. And I'm just not that lifestyle. And I have a hard time identifying with them at this point. So in some ways, there's that fork in the road. All of media, in some ways, there's little impulses they try and put in us to procreate and consume. They want us to make more workers. They want us to have more kids. Elon really wants us to have more kids, is what he's saying. It's part of the reason why he's having more kids, because he's a white supremacist. and he wants to have more white children in this world, so he's having way more kids or something like that. In some ways, they teach you through media and subtle lessons that you're not a full person if you're not with someone and have kids. And that you have to deprogram yourself from that malarkey that is put in you in media and culture all the time. It's perfectly fine to be a childless woman in your 40s and 50s, but they really pour it on people. And it's sad. In some ways, it's a gender thing is different for women than men, because also there's that time clicking on when they can naturally have kids. And there's a lot more of that going on in this age bracket that I'm in for the female gender. So in some ways, it sucks. The stigma and the stuff that's put on childless people in middle age is something that people don't talk about enough, but it's real. It's real. And in some ways, I just look at it as like, it's bullshit. Everybody's going to have different paths in life. And my path, I trust it. I'm going to go down it. And I'm just going to accept it as what it is. And in some ways, it's not exactly what I thought it would be when I was a kid, but I'm great. I'm happy. There's a lot of great things that I can celebrate and be very thankful for and grateful for. And that's what I concentrate on, not what I don't have, what I do have. And there's a life lesson right there. I love you guys and I love your kids. And I'm glad you guys have kids. You're good people, and we do need good people coming up underneath y'all. That's right. Mike's saying prayers to the safe delivery of your children, Cass. Yeah, of your daughter. There you go. And Carlos saying congrats on the new baby girl. Way to go, Cass. There you go. Thank you, Mike. First trimester is almost done, and I think we're home free. I pray. There you go. Fiercely saying congrats to Cass. Thank you, Carlo and MJ. And Carlos saying the current state of U.S. politics got me reading my Stoic passages to keep me sane. Discerning the truth on what I control is what the current focus is. Having someone to watch like you, Lex, helps a lot. The show is your child, Lex. Yikes. No, we know who my child is. And as pathetic and as sad as it is a lifeless beaver puppet, it's still something that I kind of troll around with and kind of make fun of myself by having Justin as my son. All right. But yeah, you know what? The Stoic stuff is interesting. I like to be an influence on you guys on how to cope and be happier. And that may be the most important thing. But let's not get it twisted. Let's not live in a la world that everything's just peachy and fine. There are bad things going on, and we need to be educated and aware of them also, but also with a balance of sanity in our lives. Yeah. Yeah. Facts, Carlo. I hope Justin didn't hear you say that. Yeah, he can't hear me. Come on. I'll break the fourth wall right now. He's a puppet. He's a puppet. All right, classic card. Yeah, we got to do the classic card. I love Justin too. It's such a weird puppet. I mean, we had that puppet when I was a kid. This puppet's been around in my life since I was a child. My brother found it in his attic, and he gave it to me when we were there, and I hadn't seen it in like decades. So it's kind of an interesting puppet. It's been around forever. All right, here we go. Here's the classic card. Who the hell is that? What? I've never heard of this player. Guys, we've been getting some of the hardest classic cards this week out of all of them ever. So let's see. Can you guys tell who this is? I've never seen this guy in my life. I'm going to put this right up on front on there and see how well you guys can do. That's obviously Bernard King that's guarding him. So that gives you a little timeline. Bernard King on the Washington Bullets against this Nets player. Now, I know what y'all are going to say, that you think it's certain guy. But yeah, if I don't know, we're screwed. Yeah. Yeah, Skinny Doug Christie. I don't know about that. He wants Smooth. He wants Smooth to work his magic. Well, if I give you clues on the name, y'all might be able to get it without actually knowing the player himself, because I can give you clues on his name. Kerry Kittles is who I thought y'all were going to say. That definitely does look like Kerry Kittles, but it's not Kerry Kittles. That is exactly who I thought you were going to say, but it's not Kerry Kittles. All right, I'm going to say this. We're going to give you clues on both of the names. The first name is a first name of a very important Syracuse Orangeman who was the number one pick in the draft. If you know the number one pick in the draft that was Syracuse Orangeman, you know the first name. The second name is a legend in San Antonio, is probably the first ever important legend in the San Antonio Spurs franchise. If you know that last name of that player, you will have the second name of this answer. So let's see. Carmelo Duncan. That's not right. We can't let this be the third one. Yeah, y'all need to get this, seriously, especially since I've been here almost 4 hours today. We've been here almost 4 hours, all of us. We need to get this classic card. We need to see this through. So the first clue is first round pick, number one pick in the draft, Syracuse Orangeman, first name. And his second name is the first legend in the history of the Raptors. No, the history of the Spurs organization. in their franchise? Who is the very first legend? And their last name is the last name of this player. Carmelo Robinson is not right. Carmelo, you think Carmelo is the first pick in the draft? He wasn't the first pick in the draft. That's not right. Oh, wow. You're close. Smooth's the closest. Smooth is the closest. He's got the first name right, but the second name is still not right. You guys don't realize who the first legend in the San Antonio Spurs franchise history is? Y'all should know this. Come on, man. Y'all should know this. Earl Irving? No, Julius was not that legend in San Antonio. Mike. And not Earl. Who's Earl? Earl Watson? Earl Watson? No. Smooth's got the right first name. He's got, there we go. Smooth got it finally. He figured it out. This guy's name is Derek Gervin, guys. Weird. I wonder if he's related to George Gervin. Smooth, that was tough. That was pulling teeth. He knew it was Derek Coleman. Derek Coleman was the first pick in the draft out of Syracuse. And Derek is the first name. And the last name is George Gervin, the Iceman of San Antonio. So Derek Gervin is the card. Yeah. I don't know him either. I don't remember him at all. I do not remember him at all. I wonder if he's a legacy player, that he is related to his brother. His brother is George Gervin. So it says on the back of the card, Derek Gervin is the younger brother of George Gervin right there. So he was related to the Spurs franchise legend, George Gervin. That's Derek Gervin, the younger brother of George. That's crazy, man. That is so crazy. I can't believe we got that. All right, I'm not going to go over 4 hours. So we're going to definitely wrap things up in the next 10 minutes. Okay, let me get on the classic card page and write this in. That's so crazy. Derek Gervin, younger brother of George Gervin, is our classic card of the day. And I'm going to give Smooth major points for this because that's not an easy one. Although he did have to use the clues. I'm going to give you 200 for this one. 200, not 50 like we gave Nako for idiot Dragic yesterday. Derek Gervin. Wow. Derek Gervin. Yeah. Earl the Pearl. Yeah. We did it. Good job. The clues did help. I knew we could get it with the clues. Yeah. George Gervin, not Julius Ervin. Come on now, Mike. All right, let's do the wrap up real quick. The Raptors and the 905 both won last night. My stars of the game for both games are as such. First of all, for the Raptors, Scotty Barnes, Davion Mitchell, Oshai Abaji, Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett, Jamal Shedd, and Bruce Brown are my stars of the game. Honorable mention to Orlando Robinson. On the 905 side, AJ Lawson is my star of the game, followed by Jamison Battle, Frank Kaminsky, Kennedy Chandler, and Jared Rhoden. Yeah, good job by both teams winning last night. Very, very happy about that. Very, very happy. The WNBA, Toronto Tempo have signed their first GM in the history of their team. So we have a general manager for the Toronto Tempo as of today. It's Monica Wright Rogers, a Clutch client, former WNBA player for the Lynx and the Storm. And, well, she was the assistant GM for the Phoenix Mercury before she's coming here to us. They have got, I forgot to talk about this. There's a Peloton. Tim Bontemps, on ESPN is picking his picks for who should be on the All-Star team. He's leaving Scotty out. He's got 3 Cavaliers on here. He's saying that they should have Donovan, Darius, and Evan Mobley on the All-Star team. Evan Mobley, come on, man. And he's even got Tyler Hero on the All-Star team. Yeah, I don't know about this. He does mention Scotty briefly as saying he doesn't think Scotty's deserving as being a All-Star this year. He doesn't have a strong case because of the way the Raptors have played. Fuck you, Tim Bontemps. We'll have to see if that's true by the end of it. Check your fantasy teams, as we talked about today. Happy birthday to a couple of people today. Sharon Wright, early Raptors player out of Georgia, player who got hurt. It was a very early first-year Raptor. Sharon Wright got traded to our team in the first year of the Raptors. So happy birthday to Sharon Wright, who's turning 52 today. Also, happy birthday to Jalen Rose, former Raptor Jalen Rose. Of course, we know Jalen Rose, Michigan, Jacoby and Jalen on ESPN, all of his bullshit. He's also 52 today. Jalen Rose, he appeared in that Vince Carter thing last night too, briefly. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jalen Rose. He is a Raptors alumni, though, and we'll say that. But the big birthday for today is a guy who appeared on the Sportsnet documentary last night, Mr. Chuck Swirsky, the original voice of the Toronto Raptors in that period. He wasn't the original voice. He came later. But Chuck Swirsky, Onions, Baby Onions, happy birthday to Chuck. He is actually 71 today, guys. Chuck Swirsky, 71 today, guys. Wow. Wow. Happy birthday, Chuck. We love you. So those are our birthdays for today. Y'all check out the Kensington Variety VIP Club. It is the best. It's all kinds of stupid stuff with giving away 75-cent chips and stuff like that. So crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Mike's saying he mixed them up. Too much Dr. J talk in the Raps documentary. Yeah. That whole tying. Yeah. That, you know what? That pisses me off too. That part where Vince was telling them, hire Dr. J to be the GM, and they went and hired Rob Babcock instead. Richard Petty, you fuckface. You are the idiot. You should have just made Vince happy and hired Dr. J. Like, seriously, who the fuck is Richard Petty? He put down Dr. J. He's like, yeah, I met with Julius and I didn't think he was good for the job. Then Orlando hired him and had him come down there, and Vince went down there to play for him. So I'm going to say this right now. All of the dysfunction and all the things that happened to the Raptors in the early 2000s to get to the point with Vince Carter is Richard Petty's fault. It's Richard Petty's fault. And him having the audacity to show up on this documentary to give his side and slam dunk different people like Lenny Wilkens, Isaiah Thomas, Butch Carter, and Dr. J, who are all established NBA people, just shows how clueless and fucking an idiot and a corporate shill Richard Petty is. What an idiot. Why didn't you just hire Julius Erving, you dumbass, and make Vince Carter happy? Why did you hire Rob Babcock? You can say it's your fault that Rob Babcock was even on our team because you hired him, you dumbass Richard Petty, who doesn't know jack shit about basketball. And once again, I'll say he probably sabotaged our team on purpose on the inside to help the Maple Leafs out. Just like Trump's sabotaging the United States to help China out. Oh, my gosh. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Let's go, Raptors. I'll have the preview tomorrow. Another doubleheader. 2 games on at the same time again. We're going to play, I believe we're playing Chicago here in Toronto. Wow. The Raptors 905 will be in Memphis to play the Memphis Hustle. So they're going to be going on the road tomorrow night. 905 will be on the road against the Hustle. And the Raptors will be against the Chicago Bulls at Scotiabank Arena tomorrow night. Hopefully going for a 6 win for the 6. So I'll have the preview tomorrow, latest lineup news, ref report, all that stuff. 4 hours. Holy crap, it's 1:30. I better go. All right, let's have a great day. Chuck was my favorite Raptors broadcaster for sure. You know, I don't want people to diss Matt Devlin. I want everybody to love and honor both of them. You can like both of them. Some people are very mean to Matt Devlin in favor of Chuck Swirsky, and I don't agree with that. Matt Devlin has been fantastic. Matt Devlin has called our team through the best success of our franchise. And Chuck Swirsky has his place, and he's nostalgic, and he's important, and I love Chuck's too. But we don't have to denigrate one to prop up the other. I get it. Y'all love Chuck Swirsky, but you don't need to insult Matt Devlin just because you like Chuck Swirsky, is what I'm going to say right now. Matt Devlin is amazing, and I love Matt Devlin. Matt Devlin is one of the best announcers in the NBA today. And I would have loved to have gone with Chuck further, but his time passed, and Matt Devlin came in. It took me a little while to warm up to Matt Devlin. But I am fully on Team Devlin at this point. And I don't get why people have to diss another person just because they like somebody. And that's what's happening with Swirsky and Devlin to a degree. It's not worth it. They're different chapters, and they're both extremely important to the history of the Raptors. So, yeah, that's the way I look at it. All right, y'all, let's go, Raptors. Thanks for putting up with me for 4 hours. And like I said, the views expressed on this channel are solely mine. They don't have to be yours, too. But if they do align, that's great. But yeah, we're here to have a life better and happier. And whether that's having to do with basketball or just in life in general, we're going to try and help shine a light and help y'all see the way. So yeah, I appreciate everybody. Let's go. And yeah, what the hell? Somebody going to make an account just to try and come in here and troll me? Y'all keep on coming. We'll kick you out every single time. That's right. That's right. Lack of class to diss Matt Devlin. There's no reason to do that. There really isn't. Kaz is saying, I have no problem with Matt D, but Alvin on the other hand. What? Alvin's awesome. Nah, some people are dissing Alvin too. I don't have any problem with anybody on our broadcast team as far as announcers and sideline reporters. I have problems with the in-studio people. Yeah, like Danielle Michaud and Brad Fay. Yeah, and even Matt Bonner. He annoys me. But I love the TSN people overall. Sam Mitchell's actually on my side now. I actually like Sam at this point. I think it was hilarious. Sam Mitchell saying his side about Vince didn't want to leave. And Vince is saying, I wish he had said that sooner than just recently. And the fight between Sam and Vince, that's a weird story. It doesn't sound like it was a fight. It sounded like it was just playing around, stuff like that. Fiercely saying, why dissing those who embrace us and report Especially, I don't know. Some people just feel like they have to like do this. That it's the same thing with like people that are like for Scotty but hate RJ, or they're for RJ and they hate Scotty being the leader. It doesn't need to be like this. Is what I'm saying. All right, let's go Raptors and let's keep winning. That's what we're doing right now. We're winning, baby. The whole world, when the world is running down, you make the best of what's still coming around. That's the great words of Gordon Sumner. All right, let's go Raptors.